Hello and welcome to the Life and Fight of a podcast. My name is Jake Cross from Empire Grappling and UK Fighting Championships, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Simon Price from High BJJ. How's it going, Si?
Yeah, good mate, good mate. It's excited to get into this episode. Recorded over a couple of days, didn't we? And got a lot of interesting takes from the guys on the Grapple Fest card.
Yeah, so this is a two-part episode. So this will be episode 1 and then episode 2 in a few days' time, where we have got as many as the guys on the card, haven't we? As we could possibly get. I think there's 24 in total. I think we've interviewed 18. So we've got more or less them all there. Some great chats. And one thing that's very different that I've not seen jiu-jitsu events do is have both competitors on the screen. And they were allowed to talk shit. No one really did, but it was fun to have them on. Something different, and you see that a lot in MMA.
No, definitely. It was quite interesting. It had a bit of a fun dynamic as well. Because with I've noticed it with the jiu-jitsu scene, it's more playful, less of that I need to win rather than we'll go out there and have a good match. It's sort of that's this kind of atmosphere that we've got in these interviews, and it's been great to speak to everyone regarding their training leading up to this match as well.
Yeah, obviously the main consensus would be regarding lockdown and people training, and this is the first UK event since the pandemic hit, and how they're going to do it. Obviously, if you've not seen the Chris Thompson, the promoters podcast that we did a few weeks ago, make sure you go back in our archive and watch that, because he broke everything down regarding that. But yeah, episode 1, I've got up here, so that will consist of Mick Stanton and Kieran Malone, followed by Thomas Burrows. And then you've got Ollie Bates and Michael Duaguiar, which is a fun one. Then we've got, who was after that, Simon?
Ben Hills and Lou Long. After that, we've got Craig McIntosh.
Yep.
And then we've got Ashley Williams and Kev Corkill as the header for today's episode.
Yeah, and then in a few days' time, we'll have part 2, which is Chu and Yusuf Nabi. We've got Lucas DeSales and Tyrese Cunliffe. Lee Chadwick, and then what was after that, Si?
After that, we've got Chris Walsh and Freddie Sykes.
Yep.
And headlining that one, we have got the one and only Dan Strauss,
which we've literally just recorded. And like Simon said, we've recorded most of these over like maybe a 4 to 6 day period, so timelines will be a bit mashed about. But we just finished recording with Daniel, and that was a fun one. So yeah, definitely something to look forward to. We'll quickly go into today's episode and the matches we've got. So the first one will be Mick Stanton and Kieran Malone. Sam, what do you think that matchup will take?
Yeah, I think that one's going to be quite an interesting matchup. I can see it being quite fast-paced. Kieran Malone is a great wrestler, and Stano, since he's been with ASW, his grappling's just really accelerated. So this one, stylistically, I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, you'll see it, but they seem to get on quite well, and it'd be good to see. This one, obviously, Malone's been out for quite a while. They're both MMA fighters. Malone not so much recently, but the styles will be very, very compelling, and hopefully will create a fun matchup. Next up, we had Thomas Burrows. He's facing Fletcher. Thomas is sort of new to the sort of the scene, and he's a purple belt now and under Tony Bevington. He's a fun guy. He loves the craft, and you'll see in the podcast as well. He's wants to show what he can do really, and he explains more. But it's not the first time he's faced Jack, and he's looking forward to go again in the sub only fashion. Any Simon?
Definitely, yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing Thomas sort of come out and play this match. Him and Jack Fletcher, like you said, they've got a couple of matches between them. So it's nice to they're both at purple belt, and they're both ready to sort of go head to head with each other.
Yeah. After that, we've got Ollie Bates and Michael Duaguiar. This is a fun one. Both very, very humble. Michael and Ollie are through and through in love with jiu-jitsu, and that really, really tells on the interview between these two. They love the sport. They love grappling. They've missed training. They just want to get back at it, just like a lot of people. But these two are all about showing what both of them can do and showing what the sport of jiu-jitsu can be as well.
No, definitely. I think this one's going to be one to watch as well. both very good players, and they both got very good like coaches around them as well. So this one is certainly one to watch out for. I think there might be a bit of a leg battle going on here, especially with Ollie Bates' background. But yeah, from there we've got Ben Hills and Liu Long, which again stylistically, this is going to be a great match. Like Ben Hills is next gen, trains with a lot of MMA guys, and Liu Long's got a great MMA history and grappling styles. Usually with MMA guys, their base is just really hard to turn over.
Yeah.
But Ben Hills trains with that with the next gen team week in, week out. So this should make for quite an interesting match.
Yeah, I'm just like you. It's hard because all the matches that Tomo's put on and the Groppos team, they're all great matches. But this one for me really does stand out because of and I've said it on a few different podcasts, the whole jiu-jitsu guy against an MMA guy. I love that aspect. And obviously it's not saying that because Ben was an MMA fighter back in the day. I cornered against him, I think, in one of his debuts 10 years ago. I've watched Liu Long do what he does in cage warriors, but they've both done. So Lou's done a lot of jiu-jitsu, like I said, he will say in the podcast, recently and throughout the years. So it's not just MMA versus jiu-jitsu. It's like a mix of the clashes, and it will be very, very. This is probably my fan favorite of the night for Grapple Fest. Might be one or two more, but I'm looking forward to this most because I know both of these guys.
And then after that, we've got Craig McIntosh, who's going to be fighting Ellis Younger. Now, these two, Craig mentioned that he'd faced Ellis quite a while back.
In Scotland, years ago. Scottish Open or Scottish something like that, versus.
I think Ellis got the better of him during that match, but they both had 4 years of development from there. Craig seems to have come strength for strength, and Ellis Younger's just recently won the Worlds at Brown Belt in Nogi. So this match does promise to be quite a high-paced one again, like two very talented grapplers coming against each other.
Yeah, Craig is definitely a character, and I think that sort of portrays on the mat as well. So I feel like he will want to entertain, but also finish Ellis. He'll want to get that one-up on Ellis now. But Ellis is as game as they come. He's one of the best grapplers that are, especially in the UK right now, definitely in the Northeast. He's competed on my shows, the EGI a few years ago. He won on that one. I'm looking forward to this one because there's history, just like the Burroughs Fletcher. When there's a bit of history, it creates a bit of help with the commentary. They can go on a bit more, and especially if it's a 10-minute match, you need to fill that. And sometimes jiu-jitsu is not the most entertaining, but I feel like this one will be anyway.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any boring match on this card, if I'm honest with you.
Agreed.
I think the way that Tomo's done the matchmaking, it's lined it up for a very exciting card, which leads us to the final matchup that we've got the interview for in this episode with Ash Williams and Kev Corkill. Like, Ash Williams is very, very accomplished, like one of the top grapplers in the UK, and Kev Corkill is coming up in the ranks. Like, he's beat some big names, and having trained with him as well, I know what Kev's capable of. And having watched Ash Williams, I know what he's capable of. And if they both perform on the day, like, I think we're going to struggle finding a fight of the night, to be honest with you, after looking at all these matches.
One thing that you won't see on the podcast is the couple of minutes before when we have a quick chat before we go on. These two were chatting and giving details about injuries, what they've been doing training, and it was like they were giving each other little things, and it was brilliant because they didn't have a care in the world. Kev's definitely got something to prove to himself and the audience in the fact that he's the underdog, he's the up and comer, and we speak about this on the podcast that Ash is used to being that and wants to be that, whereas it's not on this occasion. They both admit it. Kev is the underdog, and he wants to show how good he is, and Kev's adamant he wants to put on a show. He doesn't want the boring matchup that he admits he's been part of in the past, and Ash is like, well, I've been part of Fight of the Night, so you want it, I'm part of it, so we'll just do it. And if this could be a main event on 99% of the cards, it just shows how stacked and how much great work Tomo has put together on this. I think it's like third from main event, and it could just be the main event anyway. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one very much.
No, definitely. Well, without further ado, shall we get into the first interview?
get into the first interview. Enjoy, guys. If you've got any questions afterwards, let us know. But this is episode 1. Enjoy. Hello, guys, and we're back. We're lucky enough now to be joined by the next fight, which is Mickey Stano against Kieran Malone at Grapple Fest, which is July 4th. Stano, Malone, how's it going?
Hello, mate. You okay?
Good, pal. Yourself?
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Kieran?
I'm doing good. I actually kind of wish I was living down in England so we could do a bit more than you guys are getting to do down in England, to be fair, right now.
We've had the same. We've been speaking to a few of the Welsh guys like Richard Shaw and stuff, and they're the same. They're getting annoyed that they're about 2 to 3 weeks behind us. But at least you get to see if something works first, because if it doesn't, at least you're sort of protected. But I guess for all of us involved, we just want it to be months back. I think everyone would have trained through this if they were given the option between that and COVID.
100%.
So how's sorry, I'm about to say. So how's training been going then during lockdown? Have you been managing to keep active and fairly busy?
Definitely, yeah. I think if you're passionate about it, you've sort of got to be smart and sort of got to crack on at the same time. You know, you've got to keep your head in the game, otherwise the whole year will sort of disappear. Otherwise, won't it? You'll have none.
Definitely.
To be fair, it's been good for me because normally, like, I'm really busy coaching-wise, like on my own gym and stuff. So I find myself coaching other people more than myself, whereas, like, I've had a good 3 months just to, like, train. So as soon as we went into lockdown, I was like, I'm going to need something to concentrate on. So I just treated it like a fight camp, essentially. Started training twice a day, and my training's probably been better than ever, to be honest.
Good.
That's a good point, because you're both professional MMA athletes. You're both at the elite. Having been told you can't train, and then there's nothing sort of on the horizon. Stano, you were saying it before we hit record, that it's the unknown that's bothering a lot of people. I'll ask you first, Kieran, and then Stano. What's it been like to say you from full-time training to like it being completely taken away from you, and then you're given this lifeline of Grapple Fest and Chris Tomo to say, right, we're going to put something on. You've got something to train for.
As I kind of just, it was quite easy for me just to like flip the switch. Like in my head, although I knew I wouldn't have anything coming up. Like I knew if I just get in good shape, there'll probably be opportunities coming out of lockdown. So I just kind of treated it like I just gave myself I was quite heavy at the start of lockdown, so I was just giving myself weight targets to hit, and that was my kind of like my challenges at first. And then as soon as I heard the Grapple Fest coming up, I was like right on Tomo, being like, get me on this. I was like, if there's any pullouts, I definitely want on.
Mm-hmm. Same with you, Stano?
Yeah, it was Tomo putting the show on sort of saved me in a crazy way. I struggle if I haven't got, you know, if the gym's open, I'm constantly working and I jump in and I help the fighters get ready for their fight. So it gives me sort of structure, but not having a date or not having sort of anything coming up, it's very hard for me. I do struggle, you know. Obviously, I do a lot on my own, do a lot of running, do a lot of biking, and obviously I own a gym, so I can train whenever I want. But it's not the same. Having that focus and I'm getting a date and having a camp, it's the best thing on, you know, I live for it, I love it. And I was just buzzing for Tomo to get me on and put a card on.
What does it mean, sort of? It's obviously will be the first event back apart from sort of UFC in the UK, and something that we can all home in on as our own. What's it mean for yourself, at least to be on Grapple Fest? Doesn't matter when it was, whether it's COVID or not, just to be on an event like Grapple Fest. First to you, Stano.
Yeah, it's a great event. It's a massive event. It's a great event. I'm really enjoying it. Like the submission wrestling comps or the grappling comps. I want to really push it now and start competing a lot more. Being at ASW's changed my game massively, and you know, I just love competing, to be honest. I'm sure Kieran does. You know, he's done it a long time. He's you know, been wrestling since he was young, and it's part of you when you do it that long. And like, I come from a boxing background, and you know, the beauty about grappling is you can fight a lot more or compete a lot more rather than boxing or MMA. You can only get a few of them in a year. Obviously, it's really tough on the body, but more grappling-wise, you know, you could go every couple of weeks, maybe.
Same to you, Kieran?
Like, for me, like, the last kind of 3 years, the last kind of 8 months I've been more active wrestling and stuff again, but the last 4 years, like I've not been doing anything. Like I've been like building the gym and stuff. So like I've been like gradually, when I started to wrestle in the last 8 months, I was getting back into it. But as soon as lockdown hit, like it's probably the first time in years I've actually stopped to like, do you know what I mean? Like take a break and like assess stuff. And I was like, I'm wasting my time not competing here. So like lockdown was actually like a good catalyst for me to be like, I need to get competing more. Hence why I started like, I'm going to get my training up, make sure I'm down to like a good kind of fight competition rate, so that as soon as things open back up again, I can get competing all the time, whether it be wrestling, grappling, or MMA. Especially when it's on like such a kind of prestigious UK show like Grapple Fest. I was like, that's a perfect way to get started on just being a lot more active competition wise.
I think there's a lot of sort of athletes that have probably felt the same way. Like I know I certainly have. Like past couple of years, my competitive streak has sort of taken a bit of a dive. So I think there's a lot of people that in this boat now who are itching to get back just to competing, never mind training, I think.
So I think everyone gets so busy, like with life, you never really stop to think about stuff. Whereas like this is a time where people are like actually like look at what they've been doing in their life and get a chance to be like, are you happy and are you not? And I was like, this has been a shambles the last 4 years. I need to actually get doing stuff again.
Not fair. So with like everything that's going on at the moment, there's going to be no crowd at the event that you're going to be competing at. So I'll start with you, Stano. Like, how do you think you're going to feel with competing with no crowd around you?
I think it'd just be the same, to be honest. Obviously, it must build up a little bit more of an atmosphere, having a crowd, you know, especially Grapple Fest, it's booming, the crowd, it's a great atmosphere. But it's sort of, when you compete, it might even be, I don't know, it might even be help you in the fact that make you a little bit more sharper and relax a little bit more. But, you know, a fight's a fight. It's once you get going, you know yourself, once you get going, it's like everything's blanked out and it's just you and whoever you're competing against in there.
No, definitely. About yourself, Kieran?
To be fair, although it's obviously good when you've got a crowd and good atmosphere, like you don't really notice it when you're in there competing anyway. Like even like watching, like I've been watching like the Premier League since it's been back. Like I think football needs a crowd. But see, watching the UFC since it's been back, I actually prefer it without a crowd.
I agree completely.
Like I think MMA fans and stuff are like the worst for booing and like just shit chants and stuff, to be fair. But like you don't really notice the crowd. So I actually think like MMA and grappling wise, I don't really feel it makes a difference, to be honest.
Just a quick question then, both of you, about the UFC and stuff and no crowd. And like you said, Kieran, you prefer it with a no crowd. Have you felt like you've concentrated on the fights more? Because obviously sometimes when you can hear the crowd and obviously hometown favourite stuff. Have you feel like you've, like when some people watch the fights and they turn off the commentary just so they can concentrate on the skills and judge it themselves? First of all, to you, Stano, have you, when you've watched it, have you enjoyed it a bit more and zoned in on the fighters more than usual, if that makes sense?
I think it's strange. I don't think it has that buzz, that atmosphere, that, you know, the whole, you're there to entertain the fans, aren't you? So, you know, not having no fans at all, it's a bit strange. Obviously, you're competing and you're doing what you love, but that's where the buzz comes from, is it not? You know, when you're competing against someone, the crowd screaming. If I could pick one, I'd definitely have the crowd there 100%, even watching it. But, you know, obviously what's going on, you can't pick it. It's just great to have the sport on. It's very airy and strange. It's sort of reminds me like the Contender Series or something where it's behind closed doors and don't have a crowd. You don't get that sort of buzz. I don't know.
To be fair, Stano, I think it depends on the crowd. I think the American crowds are useless, to be fair. I actually think in the UK it's not too bad. The UK crowds are quite good. I feel like they don't go on the fighters enough, whereas like I feel like the American crowds are horrendous. Like I'm not.
True, mate. Yeah, so it sort of depends where it probably is in America and who's fighting. Obviously, some of the big stars have a great following, don't they? It does sort of depends who it is fighting.
I suppose maybe I'm just being a bit harsh here.
Yeah, you just like to hear the blows land.
See, to be fair, I quite enjoy hearing all the sounds of like the strikes landing, and you're hearing the corner advice coming in as well.
It's good to hear the corner advice. Yeah, you can study it a lot more, can't you? It's sort of, you do recognise everything that's going on more. Even on the ground, you know, you hear the corner fights and the grappling, the wrestling, and it is a lot more clear. But I don't know, just there is something about what a crowd does to the atmosphere, and even the commentators. The commentators are very relaxed, aren't they? You know, usually they're screaming down the mic.
I'm sure I've got the coach right. I think it's Mark Henry who does all the codes when he says, like, he could say something like frogs or something daft like that, and it means a combination. That's good to hear. That's very different. Obviously, we know he does that anyway, but it is good to hear. And then you especially at the beginning, you heard commentators. I think it's like John Anik saying to Cormier, "Stop shouting because you get or stop because you giving them what to do and you're not the corner." I think that was quite funny because you don't really get that. You might be, as both fighters, you might be like in the cage towards commentary, and you probably still can't hear it because of the crowd, where you could be 25 foot away, hear the commentary saying, this is what he needs to do. Someone like Dominic Cruz walking you through it, and you're like, yeah, good point, and then starts to do it.
Well, I think a couple of the fighters have already, like, they thanked DC after the fight because they were like, you basically cornered me. Like, I was listening to your commentary and just doing what you were telling me to do, and it was effective to, like, defending a takedown or something.
You're right, completely.
I think it's been quite a common trend though, but I think I'm with Stano on this, and I could do enjoy the crowd more. Like, I'm a bit more relaxed watching them, even if it could be like an absolute dust up. If there's no crowd getting excited, I'm sort of sat there half sat just watching it normally rather than getting into it.
Yeah. Have you ever noticed sometimes though the crowd kicks off before the knockout comes? Does that make sense? You feel the crowd buzzing, you know, as the finish comes, and that, and it gets you on the edge of your seat a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know if anyone's a football fan and been watching the Premier League with the crowd noise. Obviously, someone's on a button ready for the celebration or ready for the boo or whatever. And when someone goes for goal, they do the cheer and then bring it back down. I think that's really alien. I don't think it would work in the UFC or an MMA in general because it's hard to pop. But I enjoy personally without the crowd at the minute, because the way I'm seeing, especially with 2020, how awful it's been, I'm taking everything just for what it is and enjoying it where we can. And we're looking at that our sport in MMA was the first one that came back more or less straight away and has seen us through this more or less once, twice a week sometimes.
Like,
Fight Island. Sorry, go on, Kieran.
Like, definitely. I think it's cool that the UFC were like the first people to come back, because like there was nothing on, so I actually feel like they've capitalised. Like, speaking to a lot of my, like, I run a kind of personal training gym as well. Like, a lot of the guys aren't into fighting, but the amount of people that are talking about like the UFC now is like, I say probably like a good 50% more than what it normally is. So like, I feel it's been a good move for them to get back in, and obviously just for us, like, our own enjoyment, like the people who are into the sport.
I think it definitely needs someone like Dana White, how he, maybe it's a strong word, but egotistical and hard-nosed he is, that if someone tells him no, he'll find a way to do it. And that's probably what helps the sport around the world for us right now.
I think there's a lot of speculation about the virus though as well, isn't there? Sort of, you know, it's not killing young fit athletes, is it?
Stano, don't get me started, Stano. We'll be on here for another hour of me.
Well, this is what's going on, isn't it? You know, I just, Kieran, I just hope you've got the all clear and don't pass me the COVID.
Mate, I'm all good. I'm more worried about you.
Nah, I'm sorry, mate. I don't get sick.
The question was going to be later, how are you going to defeat your opponent? It'll just be COVID.
Yeah, I breathe on him.
So
have you seen the new COVID show?
No.
I'll show Kieran next week. Only playing Kieran.
So with everything that's been going on at the moment, like, sparring's been a bit harder to come by, like with your regular training partners. Have you adopted any sort of new methods to keep the mind sharp and keep sort of the body prepared for grappling?
I'll let you
go on, Kieran. Go on, you go.
To be fair, so like, normally, like, I don't really run, so I've been using like running as a tool just to like kind of train my mind a wee bit and like concentrating on like getting my running times down until like, I think it was maybe like 6 weeks ago I maybe started back grappling and stuff again. And it's good, like, what, like, my main kind of one of my best mates is like roughly my weight and quite a high level grappler as well. So me and him have just been kind of doing all our own training together. So it was handy having someone so close to me, such a good grappler, which has kept me ticking over. And then one of the guys from the gym is on one of the UFC Fight Island cards, and he's facing a kind of similar grappler to me, so I've been helping him do his training as well, which has been good because he's got the intensity. Obviously, it's Danny Henry who's on the Usman Gilbert Burns card, Peter Yan.
Nice.
I don't even know he's fighting in Volkanovski Holloway, so it's a big card. So he's obviously like got a big fight there. So like even just getting a buzz off, getting a little bit of work in with him has been good for me.
Are you stand up?
I'll be honest, I went about 3 days without training or going to the gym, and I had to sort of contact a few friends and sort some training out. I'll be totally honest, I'm not going to lie. I could not do it. You know, we sort of had a mutual agreement with sort of isolate and train together, so I had to do that. I had to crack on, and otherwise I'd rather get sick or you know, catch it than not train. I'll be totally honest, and I couldn't not do it.
I was hoping you were going to have been more lazy over this time, Stan. I was getting you
no, mate, I'm better than ever. I've been flying. I've upgraded.
It's been a key point of this. A lot of people maybe struggle mentally, and obviously the last few years people have talked about, especially through social media, that sometimes it's a bit of a weakness to talk about, especially as a male. And obviously the last couple of years, people have started to come out saying, I struggle mentally, this, that, and the other. It could depend physically, work, mentally, it could be anything. But especially these sort of 3 months, especially with people that are so used to routine, so used to having goals, and then all that stripped away from them, it doesn't help. So I don't blame people in your position, especially Mickey, like you said, in regards to just finding a way to train, because sometimes the lesser of two evils is better. So if you train, but you know you're being safe, rather than not training, and that could lead to you going down a spiral or anything like that, I don't think anyone long-term will blame you for that. It's just everyone's seen at the beginning, social media was like, if you put your bin out, everyone was on your back saying, you've left the house.
True, Ross. I remember the first day was like a lockdown. You can't call it a lockdown. It wasn't a lockdown in England, was it? It was like, I think the first day I went out the house in the car to do a few trips and got out and about to do things about 15 times. I can't stay in the house. You know, I do long days, and, you know, it's just, you can't, it's like being in prison. I think that the actual term lockdown is from what they do in prisons, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It is, you know, you're under house arrest in my eyes, and unless I was sick or I was a threat, or, you know, lucky enough, my wife and my kids, they're all very, you know, they're my immediate family, and they're very healthy, and we've never had a problem. I've never put them at risk. I've never, ever thought, you know, there was a virus that was attacking young, healthy people and killing them. I've never put them at risk, because they come before anything. It'd be hard. I'd have to just do burpees all day to sort of keep in the game, but I'd never obviously put them in risk. But as soon as you looked into it, it was sort of, right, I understand it was to help the NHS and stuff, but what about sort of, I don't know, I might call me selfish, but I couldn't do it. I really physically couldn't do it. Unless the army were on the streets, keep me inside, then I'd always find a way to train.
In fairness, I would say, normally I'm quite sceptical, but we didn't really know a lot about it at first, so I kind of took the first 4 weeks maybe a bit more seriously.
Yeah, definitely.
It was easy for me still to train though, because I just brought I brought the roller home from the gym, kettlebells, barbells, dumbbells. So I was running in the morning, and then I'd just do my weights at night, and because I had all the kit here, it was fine. And then I'm probably same as most other people, after 4 or 5 weeks I was like, right, we know a bit more about this. It's probably not as dangerous to certain groups or people as it is others. So I'm going to look to get a bit of training. And then even it was with that, it was not be daft with it. I was, as I said, I was training with one of my main training partners. He was isolating, I was isolating. We were only kind of meeting to train each other. So
that's right. That's exactly what I done. So I'll be honest, the first week was scary. It was scary. Everyone's like, wow, what's going on? You know, you think about how long is this going to go on for? What's happening with life? And, you know, you shut your business. I was worried financially, to be honest. You know, coaching's what I do for the job, and it's sort of, you know, I've got a mortgage, I've got a wife and 3 kids. How are you going to survive? Lucky enough, you know, I could freeze the mortgage, and I had to sign on. I've never done that in my life. I've never not worked. So the government's help people, but at the same time, your life's on pause, isn't it? It's sort of what you do next.
Exactly. Back onto Grapple Fest. Just another question. What I put to you is really. We'll start with you, Kieran, and then stand after you. After that, is have you obviously you might have known each other from the circuit previously, but when the matchup got offered, what did you think of each other? And was there any sort of, I know you're talking to each other, so it might be a bit more difficult, but how do you feel like you could beat the opposite?
So, like, when Tomo messaged me saying, like, did you want the match? Like, to be honest, I didn't even ask the name at first. I was just like, I'll do it. And then he said, about Stano. And, like, I was right away, I was actually quite buzzing because I've seen him fight on Cage Warriors and stuff a few times. And, like, for me, like, I'd rather grapple someone who's, like a decent name. So, obviously, Stano's got, like, a decent reputation. So, like, right away, I was buzzing off it. From, like, what I can see, I've seen of his fights and what I can remember, he's kind of good everywhere, like decent grappling and stuff. So I just, like, I'm kind of concentrating on my own skills, to be honest. I reckon I should have the edge everywhere, like not in a disrespectful way, but I kind of tend to concentrate on more on kind of what I can do rather than what Stano can do.
Stano?
Yeah, I've obviously, Kieran's been around a long time, so I've heard his name. I'm sure I was nearly matched up with him once MMA. Yeah, I just said yes straight away. Had a little look, and you know, to me, if you're fighting on Grapple Fest, any opponent's going to be quality. You know, it's a high caliber show, and like Kieran said, it's too many people are worried, you know, MMA about getting beaten. There is sometimes, you know, grappling's more of there's a lot of respect in the sport. It's very hard to, you know, be an idiot and start giving someone a bit of jib in a grappling fight. It doesn't really work, does it? It's sort of the MMA side, you can sort of hype a fight up a different way. But yeah, there's a lot of respect there, and I'm looking forward to test my skills against Kieran and hopefully get a great finish.
Well, before we wrap this up, do you guys want to give your social media handles out so everybody can find you, to give you a follow, get in touch if they want to get in touch? We'll start with you, Kieran.
Just it's at the Kieran Malone on kind of all the socials. I don't really like hang my Instagram. That's private. If you want to give me a follow, I might accept you. Get me on Twitter probably, where I'll give you all my facts on COVID at the minute.
Yeah, just Mickey Stano on Instagram and Twitter. I had to get rid of Facebook, to be honest. I had a little break from it, so I'm not on that because the COVID warriors were doing me head in.
It is a great fight. Mick Stanton, Kieran Malone. We're looking forward to this one. I like these sort of fights because it's two MMA guys clashing, and I like to see what skills come out when you can't strike and how it goes from there. But July 4th, you both on. Best of luck. Stay safe, and we'll see you on our screens on July 4th.
Good. Cheers, guys. Thanks for it.
Nice one, guys. Appreciate it. Hello, and we're back with Tom Burrows, who's on Grapple Fest against Jack Fletcher on July 4th. How's it going, Tom?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Yourself?
Good, mate. Surviving. I think Simon's the same.
Yeah, just about.
Still alive.
It's weird. It looks like we're in different time zones. It looks like it's light where me and you are, and then it looks like it's dark where Simon is, because he's got a proper bright light on.
Lives in a cave.
This is the only bit of sunshine I get is when I go to the front of it.
So, Tom, just get introduced where you train out of and how long you've been training.
I train in Tony Bevington Academy in Liverpool. I've been training about 4.5 years now. But consistent, like 5 to 7 days a week. So I've been putting the hours in to try and get where I want to be with it. But yeah, I'd say this is the first like proper super fighting thing I've done, you know, since I've been doing jiu-jitsu. So I'm starting to enjoy it more and more every time I get further into it.
Nice. So what we'll do, we'll jump ahead a little bit, just say it being your first super fight. What did it feel like to get that message from Tomo with regarding to getting on the show and when you got your opponent?
That was amazing, mate. It's like it's everything I've worked for in my head. I've been waiting for something to get me a little bit of a break onto the stage kind of thing instead of just the littler comps. Whereas I always I didn't ever think it'd happen that fast kind of thing. So when it happened, I was like, it was a big buzz really. And then to actually win me first fight was even more of a buzz. So yeah, I'm happy and I feel like I'm on a good path. So just going to keep going.
So, like Simon said about the message Tomo, was you actively looking for something? You heard through the grapevine it was happening, you messaged Tomo, or was it a case of he approached you? How did that work?
I think I actually messaged him a few months before, just putting the inquiries about, trying to get super fights, trying to get myself out there a bit. And I think he just said, I'll keep it in mind, for the future. And then obviously something come up for the next Grapple Fest, and he asked me, which I was really made up about, really. But yeah, I didn't expect it to come across so fast. And when it did, it was a shock, but it was a good shock. So I'm happy.
So maybe obviously we'll go rewind a little bit. So lockdown hits. How does training affect you? Obviously, we spoke to a couple of people about this, and maybe the secret's out by now that certain people were training. Or on the flip side, certain people have said when they got this call from Tomo to say you're competing, that's when they start, right, I need to train. What was it like for you? Were you sort of training in secret in your own little bubble?
I have to train. I don't ever stop training. That's like, if I'm going to die training, that's what I'm going to be dying doing, you know what I mean? If I'm going to get COVID, I'll die training with COVID.
This seems to be, I don't know, Simon, this seems to be a Scouse thing, this, because Stano was the same.
It's do or die, innit?
We had Stano saying the exact same thing.
I always say to everyone, I'd leave my family behind to keep training. I have to train. I've got a plan for the future. To me, I started jiu-jitsu late because I didn't start till I was probably 25. So that's why I'm pushing, because I want to get somewhere with it. I want to make it my future of my life. I don't want to. I have a construction business at the minute, and it's just I don't want that anymore. I want to open a gym, and I want to turn my life towards jiu-jitsu and better that. So that's why I'm putting everything into it, everything I can. So hopefully anyone who gets in my way, that's the next hurdle for me to get to the next stage.
No, definitely.
So,
did you find yourself that you picked up the pace a little bit when you got the call, or was it just straight you carried on?
No, I just carried on. In my mind, you can't just stop just because of something. If you want to be the best, you've got to be willing to go the extra mile. And them few months out, just to me, is a waste of months. That's months in training where I could be getting ahead of anyone who's not training personally. So to me, I will never stop training. I'll keep training through anything I can, whether it's on my own or with other people. So I carried on training from the start. I think I had a couple of weeks because people were a bit wary about coming to see me. They're like, I don't know whether you're going to catch something and kill each other. So I think about 3 or 4 weeks, I was just doing my own training. And then after that, I think one of the lads, he just got bored, and he's been coming ever since. So, but now slowly there's 1 or 2 more starting to drop in. So,
No, definitely. So, you're quite used to the tournament format, like Jake's saying, you're quite a regular with Empire and things like that. How have you sort of prepared differently for this structure with the super fight, and how do you think the having no crowd there and the sort of environment's going to affect it?
I've been thinking about that, and I realise it's been like when I've watched other super fights lately, and it's strange. It's a strange vibe because there's nothing. It just seems a bit weird, but it is what it is. It's a grapple. It's like being in the gym. I've just got to go out there and do what I do, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the crowd do. I'm not there for them. I'm there to win the fight and prove to people that I should be there, kind of thing. So that's my aim. The crowd's irrelevant. It just adds to the atmosphere, kind of thing. So, yeah.
Just quickly then, what was it like sort of finding jiu-jitsu? Like you say, you were 25 and under Tony Bevington, and obviously we've got more to know each other last sort of year or so for Empire and stuff, and that you at Tony and the team were at the EGI Team Series last year. Yeah. And I feel like maybe in the last 18 months, even though Tony's been around a long time, I feel like you and his team, I think like you're more or less the leader of it, especially when you compete.
Yeah.
coming up with water, people are starting to know you. What is it like sort of being around Tony and competing and stuff?
Oh, Tony's amazing. He's like, part of my jiu-jitsu problem mostly has been mental training, really, because it's always been anxieties and things like that about the crowd. That, as I say, the crowds do give me, when I started, it's like the stage fright. It's like overwhelming. You go out and you shock yourself, but he is a good man, and his jiu-jitsu knowledge is so deep. It's more than just the jiu-jitsu. It's the mental training he gives you behind the closed doors, which is a big help for me. There, not everyone else gets that, but because they might not need it. But personally, for me, it was what I needed, and he'll go the extra mile to do that for you, and he wants you to succeed. Basically, you know, he doesn't always see like isn't big on competing himself loads, but he wants me to push myself where I want to be, kind of thing. So I'll never leave Tony. He's always going to be my main coach, kind of thing.
It's always like there's a lot of people that I know that are, and a lot of like a couple of my students that have a similar thing with the anxiety around things, and I get exactly the same. Like until I get that first match out of the way, I've got a lead ball in my stomach.
Yeah,
like, first match I hate it, but then after that I can sort of relax into the day. So is there anything that you adopt, like you say, with that mental game and mental training into your routine, or you've done more of through lockdowns, like visualization or anything to help you?
It's kind of just being more confident in what I'm doing. I think I was always questioning things and putting myself, am I doing this right? Am I doing that? I think the past, even through lockdown, I feel like I've progressed so much with training, even with just one lad, because I'm just concentrating on fixing every part of my game. And it was like, that's all. I think in my mind, it was always a bit of insecurity about what I did. So that was my anxiety. But now I've started believing in everything I'm doing, and I'm like, I know what I can do. I just need to do it on the day. So that's kind of took. It's kind of like it's beat it in the way of that's more important to me. I know I can do it. I know I'm better. I've just got to keep focused on me, not what are they going to do? Am I going to lose? It doesn't matter. I like the crowd. It's irrelevant. It's what I do. If I put the training in, it should come back. You know, it's what you put in. And that's why I say I won't stop training through lockdown or anything.
The matchup with Jack Fletcher, to me, you're both Empire regulars, cream of the crop, and I've seen you both come through the ranks at the different belt levels and the different weight categories and stuff like that, and the experience categories. What was it like when you got offered Jack, and what do you see him as an opponent, and do you see any weaknesses if you have watched him before, and how you can maybe finish him, or how you beat him?
Well, I've competed against Jack 3 times now since white belt, so we've done white, blue and purple. So I think I won white and blue, and then he beat me on my first purple belt competition. So it was like, it's a good little, we've got like a bit of history. So I'm excited about the match. I feel like I can dominate, which Jack knows by our strength and power kind of thing. I'm always being quite strong for my size, and even at 70 kg and 67 kilos, I was always, even all the competitors are always saying, you're just too strong for your size. That's always a thing that he'll know in his head, because he's competed against me. That'll be something he'll be thinking about. Well, that's not the wrestling side. I probably would be more dominant. Personally, I think that. But I do. He's a good grappler. I've rolled him a few times. I've rolled him in stealth as well, and he's a good technical grappler. But I've got to believe in myself and believe what I can do, and believe that I'm going to win either way. So that's all I have to do. I know he's good, and it doesn't matter who you roll or grapple or compete against. You've got to be wary of them if they know jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is jiu-jitsu. There's no hidden secret kind of thing. If you mess up, you mess up. You get.
I presume you meant the stealth open mats then.
Yeah, the open mats. Which cool.
Massive shout out to Violet and Sam Quinn that put them on.
Yeah.
This is the thing, especially in the Northwest. I was saying this on another interview we had earlier on today, that the depth of the Northwest is massive, and obviously I know there's some that travel from all over to get to the open mats, but the amount of bodies on that mat, you will come against people that you don't normally train with or you've competed against, and you've got that camaraderie where jiu-jitsu doesn't have that sort of animosity. give or
Yeah,
take, you
yeah.
might find the odd one, but you've competed with him 3 times. You've trained with it or trained with him competitively.
Yeah.
Trained with him. Do you find that stuff like stealth open mat helps?
You know, them open mats, I think, are perfect for competition and anxiety training and stuff, because it's like you walk into a room, there's 90 people, and you've got to deal with your anxieties. And after a bit, you do, and you start realising, well, this is the biggest crowd I'm ever going to compete against. You're doing one after another for whatever time you do. So it kind of, that's a mental training, I think, in itself, being confident enough to go in a room at all different levels you don't even know. And you know, you get beat mauled by some people, you do well against some, you know, it's give or take. So I think that's good training, and I think that they're one of the best things I've been to. Them open mats, they're really good.
Nice. So before we sort of let you go and stuff, is there anyone you want to thank, sponsors, any training partners, anything like that?
I'd just like to thank Tony and the gym really as well, because all they do is push me and help me and support me in everything I do. And Big Billy Wolfrey, who's been my training partner, getting beat up for the past 6 months in my bedroom. So he's a big guy. He's like 95 kilos, so he's a big guy to deal with. But he's been
Sounds ominous, that, Tom, getting beat up in your bedroom.
Yeah, I don't want to go too far. It might sound a bit weird.
If people can follow you, then if they're interested in watching the fight, obviously we'll say where it is. But if people want to follow your journey pre and post this, how can they get in touch or follow you on social media? Any handles on Instagram or anything?
I've got my account on Instagram, which is Jiu-Jitsu Tom, and I'm on Facebook as well, just Tom Burrows. So if you want to follow me, keep an eye on what I'm doing, get on there.
Amazing. So Jack Fletcher, and Tom's gone off at the last point. There he is, he's back.
Yeah, I'm back, sorry.
We're just closing it off. So Jack Fletcher versus yourself, Thomas Burrows, July 4th, Grapple Fest on Floor Grappling. Best of luck to yourself, and obviously also Jack that couldn't join us today, but should be a great fight. I'm looking forward to this one. Obviously, it's got a piece in my heart being Empire. You representing and stuff, both being constant competitors.
You made us who we are, Jake.
I appreciate even that comment. Best of luck. Stay safe, and me and Simon and the rest of the jiu-jitsu will most likely will be watching on July 4th.
Definitely.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks, Simon.
Thanks for coming on.
Nice one,
Thank
pal.
you, guys. Speak to you soon. Bye.
Yeah.
And we're back, guys, and we've got the next fight up. We've got Michael Diagua versus Ollie Bates. Both of them rocking great facial hair. And Ollie, I'm really appreciating the stash, mate.
Yeah, thank you. I grew it just for you, actually.
Oh,
you and Chris. You and Chris. I know it gets to Chris.
It does look like Simon. It looks like a younger version of Simon.
Yeah, I saw his tattoo.
You've got more hair than me, though, mate.
I need to grow that. It's going, my hair's going. That's why I've got a cap on. I thought, I'm not sitting here, got patches and that. I was like, no, not a chance. I'm sitting here without a cap on.
Yeah, I'm guessing Michael might be in my position because he's got his hat on where the hair's a bit too long, the beard's, or saying that.
Yeah.
Mate, the lockdown's had its effect, bro.
Yeah,
look at that.
Lockdown's getting to some people.
That's magical. That's magical, that.
We've joked that everyone's like, we need a barber. Like, starting to look homeless before lockdown. I'm definitely homeless pre-lockdown, and I'm homeless after lockdown. It's the look I went for. I am getting a bit bored of it now, though. But I don't want to be them people that get the trim because it's after lockdown. I want to wait a little bit.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
I've tried growing my beard, but it just doesn't grow. I've tried. This is 6 months worth. This.
I shaved this morning.
Amazing. So, Simon introduced you. You're both high-level jiu-jitsu guys. You've been around the scene. Just talk us through training during lockdown. Obviously, I think we're past the point of secrecy now. I'll start with Ole, and then I'll go to Michael. How did lockdown affect you, first of all, and then obviously Michael, and then how did you sort of transition, and did you just decide to keep on training? Did you keep your bubble small?
So Ollie first, isn't it?
Who's first? Is it me first? I don't know. At first I had about 8 weeks off or something like that, of like no training at all. I was watching videos here and there for a bit at first, because as you do, you just want to keep doing jiu-jitsu. But then it got to me where I couldn't do it. So I was watching too much where you're not going to be able to remember it all and stuff. So I just thought, I was just eating takeaways every 2 days, drinking all the time, and that started putting on a bit of weight. That's why Chris was having a bit of a pop at us. I was getting a bit of a big boy, so I thought this has to stop. I thought then because Chris, I think it wasn't that long ago. Chris messaged us saying, you matched on Grapple Fest, nothing else, just randomly. I was just, nice one. I best put the takeaways down, put the fork down, as he says, and stop drinking as much and just like try and get back into shape. So I was like, best start training then.
Delete that Just Eat app.
Yeah, it's not good for anyone, that app. I'll tell you now. Being in lockdown, and then I've just moved in with my mate as well, so I haven't got my mum cooking for me. So it's like I'm there, but just being lazy, just eating takeaways and stuff. But just got back into training, and now I've had to start eating healthy to make sure I'm at 70. Like, it's not good.
Michael?
I was pretty much the same, mate, to be honest with you. I ended up getting pissed off with people on Facebook because they were sat doing solo drills in their lounge for fucking 6 weeks, and I just couldn't do it. I don't know how people were doing it. And
Simon was drilling with a chair.
Yeah, mate. People were chair drilling and all sorts.
I just think that was a silly me. If I'm totally honest, I just thought I couldn't get my head around that one. Chairs and stuff.
To be fair,
I think that was just money making online. Some Gracie Barra stuff in that.
No, mine was just like right at my coach.
Yeah, I couldn't do it, mate. So I pretty much same as Ollie. 8 weeks of you've got all the right intentions and stuff, and then you start looking at the scale, and we both messaged each other since and just like, cheers for taking the match, bro, because it's got the focus back again, because we'd both be probably pushing 90, smashing up the UK scene in a couple of months, but it's just brought focus back again, and not getting pissed off at the world, and the good thing about jiu-jitsu, and like you said, I can't hide it anymore, mate. I haven't been training non-stop, but of course I'm training. Of course Ollie's training, and
people like even I did, like you say, people like even I did. Now it's just on Instagram. I just thought as soon as I started seeing some people, I was just like, yeah, I'm not going to hide it anymore. You're just having a laugh, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like people are going out and seeing the friends and that, and they're putting it on social media, and you think, well, why can't we train with one person or whatever when there's people in groups and stuff?
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. So there's no point. People will just give up, aren't they, really, let's be honest.
I personally think so. And then this stuff come out today, we won't go too much into it because we'll all fucking get annoyed, right? But it's bullshit. It's just so backwards and forwards. And like you said, we know we can train without one person, and I've been fine throughout, not saying people don't catch the shit or whatever, but I think we've had to be sensible with it, and followed the guidelines for when we actually opened the gym. But for me to say that I've been training throughout the whole thing's a lie, because I haven't. I've been eating really well. But the last, since I knew I was in a matchup on Grapple Fest, especially against Ollie, you have to turn it on, so we started training and getting back into the mix. But yeah, I think you're a liar if you say you haven't been training.
Yeah.
I think
turning up to Grapple Fest, no training.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just turning up for a payday, mate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think a lot of people that have started training, whether openly or still in secret, have sort of still acknowledged that there's still something out there. You still need to be smart.
Oh yeah.
And limited the bubble. So maybe spoke to 2 or 3 people or whoever you train with and gone, we're going to train, but let's not go over the top and go out and because obviously you want to protect yourselves and you want to keep this bubble and this train going as long as possible.
Yeah.
If you turn around and was like, up to 4 people can train, but you've got to stay in the bubble, a bit like what they're doing about houses and stuff now. I think a lot of people would take that and go, right, we're going to run with this.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. Like everyone on the underground, everyone's on the underground. This fucking elite status thing that's going around. Everyone was elite the day after it. Do you know what I mean? Or applying for it, and it's just a waste of time. Like, use your brain. Don't open your academy. Train with who you're closest to. Especially if you compete. Like you just said, we're going on Grapple Fest. I'm going to turn up, fucking, and take the piss out of Tomo and that. He's given us an opportunity, So we're obviously going to train, but at the same time, I think you could be a cock and be training and fucking being Billy Big about it. We've been quiet about it on social media because it needs to, because people are weird. And that's it. But if I'm sharing a poster I'm fighting on July 4th, you better know I'm training for it. Do you know what I mean? It's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Now with like Grapplefest, it's for me, it's like the premier show of the North, and sort of alongside Polaris as being one of the top shows in the UK. So what does it sort of mean to two of you? Start with Michael, to be competing on Grapplefest?
Yeah, so I alongside what you just said, I think it's the pinnacle of jiu-jitsu in the UK itself. It was the UK, now it's going fucking, it's got to be in the world, right? That September card that was supposed to be on before this stuff kicked off was phenomenal. Like, that was, as a grappler, I literally messaged Tom. I was like, mate, I'll be the undercard on that thing. That was madness. You know what I mean? That's
US versus UK one.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
May 23rd, that was supposed to be.
Oh, sorry, May 23rd. Oh, mate, I'm backwards, like I said. Yeah,
no,
May
it's
23rd.
sweet just because we know he was planning to do something similar in September, but I had a show on the same date and I was couldn't go to it. So I'm glad it's now moved in a way so I can at least watch it. Carry on, Michael. Apologies.
Yeah, sorry. The May cards. It was phenomenal, right? The people that are in the know who was on that and stuff, and like, to me, that was arguably the best card that the UK would have ever seen, right?
Yeah.
And
undoubtedly.
Yeah, to be a part of it would have been
massive.
phenomenal. And then, I don't know about Ollie, but I was sat here, like you just said, I'm moping about. So to get the opportunity, I won't forget that. I won't forget the message I've got from Tom. I won't forget the chance that he's given me to get focused again, because I was moping about, getting miserable, thinking jiu-jitsu was a gone thing. You know, some people are sat still, they haven't trained, mate. You know what I mean? I couldn't think how horrible that is. So I won't forget it, and I do believe it is like up there with the pinnacle of the sport, right? I think it's quality.
Yourself, Ollie?
Well, I didn't know. I was still a freshish blue belt when I first got introduced into, like, I was just all gi. I was all gi when I first started jiu-jitsu and all this. So, like, when I first met Tomo, it was through when it first, like, you spoke to him before about it, you know, like, he messaged me saying, oh, do you want to fight on this show and stuff like this, and then met him through that, like on the first ever Grapplefest opening with Jack. And I thought, when he first opened it, he said to us all, look, it's small now, but I'm aiming to make it the biggest show in, like, Europe and stuff. And what he's done from it, starting at, like, just all like what we're doing now with the UK, then I always got all the big names and big cards, and then look at the card, what he was producing for the May 23rd one was just, like, unbelievable. In that short time of 2 years, you don't see that much. It's a lot of hard work and stuff he's put in the shifts, and that, you've got to give him his due for that. So it's turned into, like, a really, like, well, like you say, it's up there with Polaris straight away. And, like, it's just like, you don't see many shows that are just focused on one thing. You know, like, you'll have half gi, half no gi. Like he says, you don't know what's happening sometimes, what the rule set is, who's doing it. If you're a spectator and you're going to watch your friend, you're like, what's going on here? Some people won't, like, understand the rules. Do you know what I mean? Like, so, like, some things will be happening. They'll be like, oh, why aren't they doing this in this match or whatever? And it's hard to follow. Whereas with Grapplefest, straightforward, and he's kept it all the same rules, and then anyone can enjoy it. If you're just friends and you're going on the piss and you go watch it live or whatever, it's just like, it's good for anyone, if you know what I mean, instead of it being too confusing. Like, not many people like watching it anyway, do there? Some people don't like watching it if they're not competing.
Yeah.
But, like, if you're out of jiu-jitsu, you can at least enjoy it a bit more when you know what's going on. After a few matches, like, oh, this is what it is.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So it's...
Yeah.
I think the unknown doesn't help sometimes, and people...
Yeah.
We've all heard it through the years, and especially back in the day, like 10 years ago, 11 years ago, me and Simon side, it was always about, oh, two guys cuddling, or it's definitely
all the time.
Good old
Yeah, definitely.
Always get the karate hands as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the
Right,
time.
you should, that's how it was with all my mates at first, right? It's like, oh, you're cuddling and all that. But now, when they see me, like, training out the back, now as I live with two of my mates at home, they're, like, fighting over a remote for the TV. Next minute, I'm watching one getting him in a guillotine. Then he's there, like, nearly getting put to sleep. I swear I'm there, like, looking at them both, shaking my head. Like, one's, like, nearly going to sleep. He don't want to stop. I'm like, you're going to go to sleep. Gets out and he's there next, going in a red naked choke. He's like, just give me the remote. I'm like, get off him, will ya? Fucking Jesus Christ. At first, you're saying it was all gay and that.
Spazzy white belts, like,
yeah.
thinking...
Oh, I was scared, me. I was like, I don't know if he's going to go to sleep here. I don't get involved. I don't get involved.
The great point with Tomo, and I spoke to him a lot before Grapplefest came about things that I was doing, and I always know his focus is about the evolution of the sport, especially in the UK and maybe Europe as well. And his vision is still well further past than what he's even got now in the last 2 years. He started, June 2018, like he mentioned on his podcast with us. And in 2 years, what he's done, and his vision's still going forward. And I think that's what we needed in the UK. People that were revolutionary, people that have done the time, know how it works, been competing in the worst comps that were around back in the day when you.
Oh yeah, how it's got bigger, so quick, and then in the next 10 years again now it's just going to be unbelievable if you keep pushing forward and actually putting new ideas out there. There's so many different things if you actually put the time in there. You could make things happen like they're doing team versus teams. You can do different countries. You can do Australia versus UK. You can bring in 3 teams like a quintet of 5s and all sorts if you really put the time in.
I think we're evolving to that stage where we can start to do stuff like that. And I feel like the teams are so strong, and I know I'm biased because we're 3 of us are from the North. I feel like the North is a lot better than the South, even though the elite of the South is legit as hell. I feel like the North is going leaps and bounds above a lot of it, and I like to see North versus South, Scotland v Wales. I would love to see more of that stuff, and maybe more teams. I think that would be a cool concept. I know I did it last year with a team series at EGI, but that was teams rather than regions. I would love to do something like that. That would be cool. But back onto Grapplefest, the competing with no crowd will be a massive element, and we're going to speak to this to everyone that we do interview for Grapplefest. We'll start with Michael and then to Ollie. Obviously, you competed before, tournaments, invitational, stuff like this. What's going through your head that there'll be no crowd? Do you think it will affect you?
Not whatsoever, mate, if I'm honest. I really don't. I think, like Ollie will know this, once you slap hands and bump fists, that old fucking cliche, when you shut the cage door, when you slap hands and bump fists, we're both going to be focused on each other. And within those 10 minutes, whatever happens, right? You very rarely hear people in the crowd. I do anyway. I've had maybe once where I thought to myself, fuck me, they were loud. That was awesome. That was sick, right? But we're talking arena show where there's so many people. I think it will be weird, but it'll only be weird for that 30 seconds before and then that little bit after. I genuinely, me personally, I when I'm rolling or we're competing, I don't think we'll notice too much. I actually think it's going to make for a hell of a card because we're all going to come to finish, right? Because Tomo asked for that, number 1, but number 2, we I don't know, kind of because they're not there in person, they're watching at home, and I think a lot more people will watch from home.
There'll be a lot bigger crowd because everyone's waiting for the big shit, the show, something to watch. There aren't too many shows at the minute, is there, and stuff like that.
There's nothing going on
happening every weekend, or now in the UK, there's one every 2 weeks to competition. So from people oh well, we can't do it, we're gonna at least watch it and stuff. It's getting back into it because it's getting time now, innit? It's getting time to nearly get back to training anyway. You need to get people will be more focused again now than
I think so.
Lockdown.
And the card, this card's not shabby, is it? It's quality. The people on it are quality. We're in the middle of a lockdown, and I was like, mate, this is quality. So I'm excited to take part in it. I don't believe the crowd. I mean, I'm buzzing to go on it again when the crowd's there, because then I might shut my mouth. But at the moment, I don't think it'll be too much of a difference here.
Oh, quality.
Ollie?
No, I don't. For the 3rd Grapplefest show, I actually had to go and do a tournament in a gym, to qualify for Grapplefest again. So it was it's different. It's obviously different. It's when you go and cross train, people don't people who actually do cross train. You understand when you go to a gym that you are mates with them and all that, but then you go harder than when you're in your own gym with your mates. It's just a bit like that. Nothing really changes. It's not when you you can touch hands and that and you start, everything goes out your mind anyway. You're there crapping yourself thinking you're getting choked out in 30 seconds. But when you actually slap hands and that, everything goes away, doesn't it? If you compete, it's just back to normal. It doesn't matter who's around you, what's around you. If you're too focused on that kind of stuff, then you're probably going to get caught anyway. So it isn't that different for the competitors, I don't think. It's just more like for Chris and stuff like that, where they're sitting there commentating in a gym where there is no crowd, instead of being the crowd there where there's an atmosphere. Normally you get a bit of a buzz off an atmosphere when he's like commentating and stuff. So it is probably more different for them than it is for us.
Yeah, no, definitely. So when Tomo reached out to message you, did he sort of give you who you were going to be facing, and what was the sort of initial thoughts when you got given your opponent? Ollie, do you want to go first?
Yeah, it was a funny one, to be fair, because I actually got a message off Lloyd first saying, "Oh, I think you're going to be on the next Grapple Fest or something." I was just like, "Man, Chris hasn't messaged me." So I was just like sat there, and then I was sat there, I was thinking, "Oh, yeah, I best start training and that then, just in case." And then I think it must have been 2 days went by or a day went by, and then Chris just messaged me on Instagram, "Oh, you matched on Grapple Fest." Didn't reply again until the next day. I was just like, "Yeah, sound, I don't mind who it is and that. Who is it?" And then he just told me the guy the next day, and I was just like, "Oh, right, yeah, go on then. I'll just take. I don't mind who it is. Anyone and everyone I'll take. So I'm not bothered. It's good." But then I had to obviously check who it was, and realised it's obviously not going to be just a pushover match and stuff. If you know what I mean. I've had to train hard again, try and get back to fight fit as much as possible, and just keep going. You know what I mean? So that's how it was for me. I wasn't bothered as long as I was competing. I said that I think I put a post up 2 days before saying I can't wait to compete. And obviously, then I just got a match. I was like, "Oh, nice one. That's just what I wanted."
You can't argue with that. What yourself, Michael?
Yeah. I got a message from him saying, "You'll have to bear with me, bro. Everyone, the whole world's messaged me. I have a select few on a card. You know, it'll all get going again when it gets going." So I said, "Yeah, that's cool, bro." And in like 2 days later, he was like, "I've got your match." And I thought, "Ah, cool." So in my head, I thought, well, this isn't going to be a mug. Do you know what I mean? That you don't get mugs on Grapple Fest anyway. And when Ollie's name came up, I exactly the same feeling. I was like, right, I need to get training now. And that's only a respect thing, right? Because any other name, I'd still be eating my takeaways, you know, and that's my own mentality. It's bullshit, really. But for Ollie, I know of him. I know his coach. I really respect the two of them. I don't talk shit anyway, as it is. I don't really believe in it because he likes the same shit as me, right? We like jiu-jitsu. Fucking, I don't really get it. But obviously I do know him. And then, like you said, had to look up what he had done and stuff. And I can only respect it. So I know I had to get in the gym and train out of respect for him and for Grapple Fest. So I'm excited for it. I really am. Fucking, of course, you would love to take this type of caliber opponent on when we can all train in the gym properly and stuff. But I think we'll both be ready to do 10 minutes, so I hope so anyway.
I hope so. You said that for we. You said we there, and I was like, I don't know if I will be.
But I know what he's. I'm actually really
happy to make it out for 2 minutes. And all right.
I'm actually really looking forward to it because my last few have been like you know, when shows allow a draw or something, and the guy will just run away, and I just know for a fact he's not like that. I know I'm not like that, so we'll either do it super quickly and we'll both deep down like that, or
5 minute mark and my guard's getting passed. Yeah.
Or we'll
choke me out. I'm done.
I actually think it's going to be exciting. You know, I think it's going to be an exciting match. I hope so. Anyway, you know, we're not. I don't chat shit. Like I said, I'm going to come and compete, and so is he. And I actually think the mix of what we do should be an exciting match. So watch it be the most boring fucking thing you've ever seen. But do you know what I mean? I'm grateful for the opportunity, and like I said, I really respect when his name came through. I was like, fucking hell, I better start doing my shit, you know. So yeah.
We'll start to wrap it up. The people want to follow this fight, maybe become fans after watching you on Flow Grapple on July 4th. How can they follow your careers and stuff on any social media handles? Michael first.
Yeah, so probably Instagram's the best one. I tend to get involved in a lot of bollocks on Facebook and not talk about jiu-jitsu. So if you follow my Instagram, it'd be good. Do you want me to say it out loud?
Yeah, please, pal, and then we'll tag it anyway.
Oh, okay, cool. It's MDagua BJJ _ Zion. So that'll be the best one.
Sweet. Ollie?
Cheers, man.
Mine's just Instagram. I'll just use that. Everything else is just a load of crap for me. For jiu-jitsu wise, it's just Ollie Bates, OLLIE BATES on Instagram. No space.
I think everyone watching this will definitely look forward to it, because you're both humble, down to earth guys, and that's what jiu-jitsu is mainly all about, and bringing a lot of people together and changing people's lives. And I think all four of us can agree with that. We've got Michael Jaguar, hopefully pronounced that right, an easy one of Ollie Bates, a bit like my name, easy and simple, like Michael's. Going against each other, July 4th, Flow Grappling, Grapple Fest. If you've not got Flow, get it. This will be a great fight. But thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you, guys.
No worries.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, guys, and we're back, as always, with Simon from High BJJ, my co-host. I'm lucky enough right now to be joined by one of the feature bouts of the evening at Grapple Fest. We've got Ben Hills against Lou Long. How's it going, guys?
All good, mate. Yeah, thank you. All good.
Yeah, sound man. Boiling today, innit?
Looks like you just come off the beach, Lou.
Look, I had a beer, innit? It's nice.
You've both been out enjoying the weather today, then?
Yeah, there's not much else to do. Wales is still in lockdown, innit? So
yeah,
not to do a massive amount, really.
Not fair.
It's a great point to start on then with you, Lou. So we was going to touch on training, but we have spoke to a couple of the Scottish fighters on the card. You guys are a bit behind England in relation to restrictions being lifted. How's that going with you? Have you still able to manage to train? You find it frustrating? Where's your head at with it all?
Yeah, it's frustrating because obviously I run the gym as well. So, considering, it's been closed 3 months already. We're quite lucky. We are quite fortunate. The landlord's good, plays ball, but how long are they going to be closed for? It's just don't know. So it's frustrating in that respect. But other than that, the gym's empty. One or two pros and good level jiu-jitsu guys that pop in every now and again. But other than that, it's a real skeleton crew sort of thing. It's quite nice not to deal with people, but
Yeah. What about you, Ben? So how's training going? Did you take a hiatus at the beginning, or has it always been sort of secret behind closed doors training sessions at Next Gen?
Oh, it's a touchy subject, but yeah, no, I've been doing a lot. I think training wise, it was more kind of cardio based when we were locked down, and obviously more strength and conditioning work behind the scenes when everything was shut. I do really feel, obviously, with what Lou said then, I do really feel for the guys, because obviously we've got our gym as well, and it's, with this elite status, it helps having us, having the pros able to train, but not having the classes on and not having a routine and not having the guys in, I think has been really difficult for a lot of people. And with obviously Wales still on lockdown, it's a tough one. But yeah, I've managed to get a few sessions in, so I'm happy.
Oh, spot on.
Lou's dog, photo bomb in there.
I see, yeah.
My boy.
With like Grapple Fest is like one of the sort of premier shows and probably in Europe at the moment now, and with like the card being quite stacked with a lot of British talent, what does it sort of mean to you? Sort of get the call up from Chris to sort of have this behind the scenes event, being the first one in Britain really to have an event going. How did it sort of feel to get that call? We'll start with Ben if you want.
It's Ben crashed. We'll give Ben. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I heard that. It was a bit broken up, but I heard it.
Go for it.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I've been on Grapple Fest 7 times now, so I've been around the block. I had a few fights last year, as you probably know. So getting the call from Tomo was, I was expecting to be on the US card anyway when the US UK card was there. I had an opponent match for that, obviously, that didn't go ahead, which was a shame. But yeah, I'm happy to take a fight whenever it comes up. Whoever kind of gets put in front of me, I'm happy to take and happy to fight. Obviously, it's not an MMA fight; it's just jiu-jitsu, but it's something that I'm very passionate about. So I'm happy to fight anybody in that arena.
That's fun.
What about yourself, Lou?
Oh man, I jump at the opportunity to compete. I had a few frustrating years, but I really want to get back to just competing. Every couple of times a month, if anything. I never felt better than when I was competing regularly as well as fighting, and that was my plan this year. to try and get out loads of comps, get back on like the IBJJF scene and maybe some Nagas. I was matched for the Polaris as well. But obviously all that's been thrown into the air now. But yeah, just can't wait to get it going. Like it's gonna be good. Hopefully I don't get caught crossing the border, you know.
There's all sort of rumours that obviously July 4th was supposed to be the day in England that gyms are supposed to reopen, and then they're talking about middle July, but they're sort of being hazy of dates. I can see us being around sort of between the 13th and 22nd of July that gyms open, whether combat sports are allowed. But knowing what Scotland, Northern Ireland and Wales have been like and sort of waiting to see how things materialise, you could be 3-4 weeks even behind that, looking at mid-August, which is quite frustrating. I guess you've just got to play it by ear, play it safe, and just try and get in as much as possible, especially for Lou. With Grapplefest then, being behind closed doors, no crowd, what's that sort of mindset take you in, especially Lou? You competed on the big MMA shows in Britain and Europe, and on the Jiu-Jitsu comps as well, and same with Ben all around, especially when you came back a couple of years ago now. I think I spoke to you at Grapple Nation 1. I hadn't seen you in probably 8 years around the scene. We'll start with you, Lou. What's it sort of mean? You're used to the big crowds, and now you're going down to basically, like you said about your gym, skeleton. What goes on? What's going through your mind for a no crowd event?
I really haven't thought about it. I really haven't given it a thought, to be fair. Now you're saying it, I'm thinking, we probably end up chatting halfway through the grapple, you know? It's like, oh, God, we're stuck here. You know what I mean? I don't know. Until I do it, I don't know what to think. Like, I fought once in Abu Dhabi, and that was just for a few shakes, and that felt strange. I felt like a little pit dog then. But it's a bit different, though. It's grappling, it's not. But yeah, I don't know until you do it, though. So
true. What about you, Ben?
Yeah, it's a very good point. I think it's going to be a different experience, but it's something that I'm looking forward to. I mean, grappling is grappling, no matter where you put it, no matter what environment you put it in either. It's, you know, jiu-jitsu is jiu-jitsu. You can put it on a mat, you can put it in your backyard, you can put it on in front of 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people. It's the same thing, just in a different space. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to getting out there and you know, getting back to competing.
Just a quick question for you. We'll touch on, Ben, what I mentioned there about you taking a hiatus off and then you've come back and you sort of hit the ground running, competing a lot, doing the Empires, the 24/7s, all the events you could, and then, like you say, you've done more or less back-to-back Grapplefest over the last couple of years. Why did you take the hiatus? I think to the first question. And the second one, are you happy with sort of the progression you've made since the return over the last 2 years?
Yeah, so without being too long-winded about it, I went to uni. I was basically fighting full-time. I was chasing an MMA dream when I was a kid. Started when I was obviously very young, under Rimmer, in the old 051 days with Fishy, and kind of I was there when Fishy had his first class, and was sparring with him all the way up until his first few pro fights. I left to go to uni when I realised that when I was training for first year law, my grades were slipping, so I needed to do something about it. So I took a bit of a hiatus and got my degree, got a job, worked through that, and then decided it was time to come back. I came back with a more mature head, so I left as a kid and came back. Well, I came back much more mature, much more grown up. As a man. I didn't want to say that to be cheesy. It was awful as well. I heard it, man. I went, I can't say that. It's awful.
Left boy. Come back, man.
Yeah, literally. And then, so I came back. I feel better than ever. Came back with a professional mindset. Came back wanting to win, wanting to improve in all areas, and just really kind of get my head down and work hard. I've got a goal of where I want to be, and you've seen it on all the podcasts I've been at. I don't hesitate to talk about it. I want to be at the top. So the only way to get there is to start beating the guys at the top. So that's what I'm working towards, and I'm working hard to get there.
Cool. With you, Lou, so you've been around the game a long time. MMA, you fought some of the greats, Inman, Shay Mills. You fought on the biggest shows. What do you take from the MMA and your career to date, and sort of transitioning more into the grappling scene now?
I don't know. I mean, it's nice just to grapple without the thought of MMA, because I think there's two different styles of grappling there. You know, completely. You know, one, you've got to be a lot more positional, savvy because of strikes, And then now I can open up and play more of a jiu-jitsu game. It's really nice again. I feel like I'm learning and progressing in jiu-jitsu. Yeah, it's cool. Like.
I agree. Mine and Simon's original coaches, like 11 years ago, was Matt Inman. So it's sort of the time you fought him in 2014 is when I sort of started to follow your career and through Cage Warriors and stuff like that. I enjoy watching like your fights. Yours versus Tommy Quinn is infamous. I enjoyed that one. I feel like seeing you now on the grappling scene is a cool aspect because I like the MMA guys when they transition to jiu-jitsu and try and pursue that a bit more and see how the styles are. You see it with the submission underground and you have like an MMA game plan, but sometimes it can be mixed up. So that's why I'm looking forward to this sort of jiu-jitsu versus MMA fight or to see what happens there.
Well, a few years ago I was like competing all around Europe on the different IBJJF scenes, and as I said, I was competing all the time. So I've been grappling those levels. I'm grappling a lot of grapplers for years. So it's going to be. I'm really excited to get back out at it.
Yeah, no, spot on. Like thinking of the rule set as well. Like both of you have sort of competed in the points system, done a bit of sub only. Like, how does the preparation for the camp like sort of differ? Do you want to go first, Lou?
I've never struggled between rule sets. I mean, this being ground and pound as well is great for me. No, I'm joking. No, I've never struggled with the different rule sets. I've always been, I don't know, people that quite often have asked me that, and I just never have, whether it's been judo, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, whatever. I've always just been able to take to it, and that's the rule set. That's it is. It's I've really competed a lot jiu-jitsu recently, but outside of IBJJF, and now they've taken out like the 50-50 advantage score and stuff like that. That's really going to sort of suit me in the future. So looking forward to just getting out, and I can't wait to get to the Grapple Fest. It's actually leaving Wales would be nice.
About yourself, Ben?
Yeah, as Lou said, you just got to be able to flex your style to whichever way you go. I was a Thai fighter back in the day, so coming from Thai into wrestling, into judo, into jiu-jitsu, it's one of those that you've just got to be able to adapt. So whether it's IBJJF rules or sub only, it's much of a muchness. There's just a few different rules. You can't heel hook, you can't do certain things, but so what? You can find another way to win. And you should be, if you're a good enough grappler, you should be able to adapt to both styles and be able to win in both.
Oh, definitely.
So with you both obviously know each other through the scene, and you probably looked into each other maybe a little bit, especially in all the spare time that you've got. Is it anything? I know you're speaking to each other now, so it might be a bit alien, talking, make a little bit of shit, or how you're going to defeat each other. But Ben, first to you, and then Lou to reverse. Ben, what do you see in Lou's game that you think you could pick apart and get the win, and how do you think you'll get
it? Oh, here we go. No, I think you've got a lot of respect for Lou. He's a good kind of well-rounded veteran of the game, so he knows what he's doing. He's not going to be kind of easy to fall into those traps, but I feel like I've got a good style. I feel like I've got a dangerous style as well. There's a lot of tools that I haven't brought out on any of the shows before that people don't know about. A lot of things I've been working on for certain things like the ADCC trials. I've been working on a certain game, and there's a few ways that I feel like I've got a good style to be able to counteract MMA boys. Obviously, we come from an MMA gym as well, which puts me in good stead. But I'm no stranger to a good fight. I think it will be a great fight. I think it'll be a good scrap. And yeah, I think I'm just going to go out there and look forward to getting stuck into it really. But I feel like I've got all the tools to get it done. But Lou is a great grappler.
Lou, what about yourself?
I don't look into anyone I'm competing against or fighting really. It's never been something I just always focus on myself, and if my teammates or coaches want to look at them, they generally do, But I got great respect for Chris Fishgold up there, being a good mate, and he's got a great pedigree of grappling. Like him and Paddy, they're both phenomenal grapplers, and you've seen them on the MMA scene smashing people up for years, And yeah, it's good caliber next gen, and just from knowing Fishy and that it's not going to be, it's not just a breeze, is it? You know, so yeah, as you said, yeah, it's just get stuck into it, yeah, whatever. Innit?
No, spot on. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on there, guys, today. Before we sort of part ways, if anybody wants to follow your journeys and follow your training, is there any way that they can reach out to you through social media or anything that you're using?
Ben?
Yeah, reversed. So yeah, you see me on Ben_Hills_BJJ on Instagram. That's kind of the main place to get me. And obviously I'm mostly active on kind of the NVR Fightwear channel as well. So just search for them both and we'll be there. So
perfect. Yourself, Lou?
Yeah, just all the usual places you'll find me. Sorry, Lou_Long, but at yeah, you know, all the places. Other Twitter, I never got Twitter. Yeah, just like a shout out to Tommy. You know, they've supported me for a long time, and they're always great guys. Always good to me, so I gotta always give them a shout. You know.
Definitely. Well, Ben Hills versus Lou Long, July 4th, Grapple Fest 9, live on Flow Grappling. So it's one that I'm definitely looking forward to. And we hope to see a great show in it. And best of luck, guys. Stay safe, and we'll see you live in about 10 days.
Thank you very much, guys. Cheers, Lou. See you later.
Cheers, guys. All
the best. See you, bud. Bye.
Hello, guys, and we're back. I'm, as always, joined with Simon from High BJJ, and we're lucky enough right now to be joined by Craig McIntosh, who's competing at Grapple Fest on July 4th. How's it going, Craig?
Good, good. Doing well. Just enjoying the sunshine up here.
It's a nice day, isn't it, Simon? It's
lovely.
Everywhere.
So it's looking like you've got the weather up there like we've got down here as well.
Aye, it's been class. Got a wee walk up the hills earlier, just trying to do some active recovery. It's good.
Oh, nice. Well, speaking of that, like, how's sort of training been for you during sort of this lockdown period?
It's perfect, actually, just because I've been, I built myself my garage. I converted my garage into a gym just no long before lockdown happened. So I got it automated and stuff just on pure chance that this ended up happening. And then, so I've literally got the garage there. I'm on furlough. So I've had a lot of people coming from over Scotland to come and train with me. So just to start with, just say thanks to the people that have reached out and they came to train with me, because I've had a lot of good guys come and sometimes travelling an hour or two to actually come and train and helping me out. So it's been great. I've managed to get loads of work in despite the current circumstances, the fact that we're not meant to be rolling.
Oh no, fantastic. Pretty envious of that, to be honest.
Aye. Nah, it's been awesome, and it's given me, because I've had time myself, for the first time in my life I've had time myself, so I've been able to do like kettlebell routines, and I've added some more strength and conditioning into my kind of current program, because I've always worked, as long as I've competed for 10, 11 years now, and I've always had a full-time job, but I've been in furlough for 3-4 months now, so as soon as it started I just started training like a professional fighter and really trying to get 2-3 sessions in a day, whether it's strength and conditioning, sprinting, running, even if it's just some stretching, some yoga, just trying to mix it up and make sure that I'm training a lot, so it's been great for me. It's the best I've ever felt physically and mentally.
Oh, fantastic.
So we had Kieran Malone on from your neck of the woods in Scotland yesterday. Obviously you guys are a bit behind us in relation to what your government are saying, or your side of the government haven't really let up of restrictions as fast as we have. Have you found that more difficult, or have you just sort of created your own path and made sure you're just training safe within a bubble?
I guess, I'm just steering clear of people that are most likely vulnerable, to be honest. At first I was a wee bit more cautious, but just as things started to come about, and especially like where, there's a lot
You losing him, sorry. Pause it a sec, sorry.
No worries.
Sorry, go on. We lost you a bit then, but go for it, Craig.
Sweet. I just started kind of training with some individuals, and then just started to branch out as things have got a wee bit looser. Obviously steering clear of people that are potentially vulnerable and stuff like that. But I think you know yourself with doing jiu-jitsu and doing martial arts in general, your immune system's pretty bulletproof. You're constantly you're at your fittest. You're eating healthy. your immune system's pretty strong, and then not only that, but you spend your most days rolling about with sweaty men, and you're getting all those germs and disgusting things for the mat, and so you know you can fight pretty much anything. Your immune system can fight pretty much anything as a combat athlete.
Yeah, of course. So trainings, you've carried on training. At what point did you get the call from Grapple Fest? Was it something you were chasing or they were chasing?
I had seen that they had posted in it, and when I seen that they had announced it, and I hadn't heard it, and I just kind of assumed that I wasn't getting on it. But do you know what? It's a massive compliment just to get an opportunity to compete on it. You know, I'm the only person, myself and Kieran Malone, coming down from Scotland, so I thought that's it's a big compliment just to get on it and get a match. At first I was matched with Dominic Dillon, and obviously the match fell through. I think he's on Polaris. And then I got offered Ellis, and Ellis is a great opportunity as well, so I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, quality. Like Ellis is quite the formidable opponent. Like, he's recently won the Worlds. So what was your thoughts when that name got presented to you?
Do you know what? I'm right up for any challenge. You know, I always say to Chris that I'm up for anybody that's available, and I'm just trying to test myself. I don't really have too much of an ego with jiu-jitsu in terms of, you know, if I was to win or lose, it doesn't bother me. I just want to try and compete with the best guys, trying to get as much experience competing with different people. And when I got offered Ellis, it was great, because when I stopped fighting MMA about 4 years ago or something like that, one of the first tournament I done was a no-gi sub-only tournament up in Scotland, and Ellis was actually part of that. And I met him in the second match, and he was able to submit me. So he's one of two people that submitted me in the no-gi competition. And you know, in my head, technically, I've always kind of trained for, you know, as if I was going to go against, because whenever I lose to an opponent, I don't, you know, obviously I hate it. I hate losing. You know, I hate losing to anybody ever. So in my head, I've always kind of thought, right, what would I do if I was in that scenario again? And always just trying to, you know, set the bar as if you're going to come against that opponent again. So it's been about 3.5 years or so since I competed against him. And he's obviously got a lot better. I think the main differences I've noticed with him is he's got a lot more physical. He seems to have added strength and conditioning to his routine. You know, he's got a bunch. He does some similar stuff to me, but he's very, very good, and I respect him and rate him highly. I've seen a lot of the stuff he does. There's some areas I think he's really strong at. There's some areas I think I'm going to be stronger at, and I just need to try and force the match into those areas and look to exploit any areas. But one thing's for sure, like fitness wise, it's going to be no problem. I'm going to be as fit as a fiddle, and I'm going to be looking to try and push a pace for the full time, because if there's anybody training harder than me, then I'd like to meet them, because I'm training harder than I've ever trained my whole life.
Awesome. I think that's going to be the running trend with a lot of the Grapple Fest matches, is everyone's going to have top end cardio, and I think that pace is just going to be really exciting to watch.
Well, my first match on Grapple Fest, that's what I kind of had learned. You know, I'd always just done jiu-jitsu tournaments just for fun, you know, and I wasn't really taking them crazy serious, to be honest. I just happened to win most of the ones I entered, but it was just that I never really had to try too hard at it. And then I went against the young lad Isaac, who was like Craig Jones's, one of Craig Jones's students, I think, and Lachlan Gell's student, and he put a pace on me, you know, and despite I went the distance, but at the same time I was like, I really need to start respecting these guys more, because he put a pace on me to the point where I was exhausted after. I was actually sick after the match. It was that bad. I ate a big Subway before it and never warmed up. You know what I mean, I just been totally stupid, to be honest, and should have learned that lesson for MMA, because you know you can't really do that. And so I've started treating it properly, started treating it more professionally, and every match after that I've started using cardio as one of my weapons again. So not just technique, but being able to outwork people as well. And I think that showed in my second match in Grapple Fest, because I was still freshish at the end of the 10 minutes, and I was able to push a pace for the full 10 minutes. So that was against Wing Chun. So he's a good dude as well. He's a really nice guy. So I've had 2 matches in Grapple Fest. This will be my third. Big match for me, great opportunity again. Like you said, Ellis has just won the no-gi world, so just really looking forward to giving him my best.
Yeah, like you said there, you're quite experienced on the Grapple Fest circuit. You've fought twice on them last year. You're 1-on-1. You faced Isaac. You faced Chew. What do you sort of think that Grapple Fest brings to the UK BJJ and no-gi grappling scene? Obviously, it's a no-gi grappling event. What do you think it brings, and how much do you like competing on these events?
Honestly, I love the show. I think it's brilliant. I'm friendly with Chris, the promoter. I think he's a top guy, and I think he really cares about the sport. Like, especially the matches. He's never offered me a match that I've not thought, oh, that'd be a good match. You know, anytime he offers me a match, I'm always excited about it. You know what I mean? I've never been offered a match where I've thought, oh, like it's just a match. I've always been like, oh, that would be really good. And he'll offer me a match as well. Any match I've accepted anything he's ever offered me. But every match he's ever offered me, I've thought, oh, I don't know if I can beat them or not. You know, and that's what you want to feel. I think in jiu-jitsu, you didn't want to be like, oh, I can beat them. You know, that's sometimes you feel like that when you enter tournaments, and it's not great. But it's like when you get matches against these guys, you're like, oh, I don't know if I can beat them. It's a challenge, and that's really why I like jiu-jitsu. You want to find out if you're able to beat them, if you're able to submit them. And again, with Grapple Fest, they push the submission only scene, and that's something that I've been passionate about since I started martial art. I mean, when I was doing MMA, I was just trying to submit everybody most of the time. I was trying to knock them out or submit them. It's how I've fought my whole career. Everything I've ever done has been to try and finish people. You know, I've never been a decision guy. I've always just tried to finish people. I've got 10 submission wins in MMA, and I'm always finishing. If you look at my smooth comp record, it's like, I don't know what the percentage is, but it's pretty high. It's like 60-70% finish rate or something like that. So it's always finishes that I go for. I usually try. I've got my own ways, but like I say, I like to try and get the finish because I think that's more definitive.
Oh, definitely, it's a great way to make a statement as well. And like with you being sort of like a vet of Grapple Fest, you've been there with the crowds. How do you think it's going to differ now we've not got the crowds at this next event?
I like that. I'm not a fan of crowds anyway. I've just took an MMA fight as well.
People.
I didn't do it for the crowds anyway, to be honest. I didn't do it for money. I didn't do it for crowds. I just did it because I love the sport. So I feel better without the crowds, to be honest. And I've got an MMA fight that's going to be the same. It's going to be a closed door show. What's it called? I think it's Celtic Gladiator. It's called for that. But I'm going to be fighting on that, and that's going to be the
one in Manchester. Is it Manchester?
That's right. Yeah. So I'm going to be on that card. And just honestly, I prefer no fight. I didn't get that much energy off the crowd or anything like that. I like the fight, and that I think I'll enjoy it a lot more with the crowd or people being there and just all the sort of obligatory stuff that you need to do when there's loads of people there to watch you. I just prefer just to fight, you know.
Yeah.
Just a quick one then. Obviously, you mentioned earlier on you've had a 4-year hiatus for MMA, and now you're on Celtic Gladiator in August, which, yeah, like you say, is a behind closed door one. How's that come about? Why did you want to return to MMA? Obviously, back-to-back events, no crowd, jiu-jitsu and MMA within sort of a 6-week period. What happened there?
Just having time again. Just having time for the first time in my life. I've got time. You know, I've always worked a job where I'm at the house for 12 hours a day, and I tried to manage becoming a professional fighter while working a full-time job. And I'm in a position now that I'm obviously on furlough, and I just told myself, because that was my biggest problem. You know, I'd done as much. I trained every single night while I was working a full-time job. I never missed sessions. I'd done training on my lunch break, but that's not enough to make it as a professional MMA fighter. Unfortunately, like a couple of hours at night and an hour during the day is not enough. You need to be obsessed with it, and you need to know of the responsibility of of having to walk into the office with a sore face and all these other things that just little tiny things like that get into your mind. But now, you know, you can just totally be yourself. You can be free, express yourself. You can totally go out and just give everything into your fights and train properly, train the way that your mind wants you to, because you're not bound by time. And so I'm just trying to make the most of it. So at the start of this lockdown, I just said to myself, you know what, if you can't get in peak shape in this time, then, you know, what are you really doing it for? You know, if you can't get yourself at your fittest when you've got all the time in the world, then you're never going to, you know, you're just kidding yourself on.
Is that back at lightweight, and have you got an opponent?
It's at lightweight. I'm fighting a guy, I'm going to probably butcher his name, but it's Jamil Ibragimov, I think it was. Jamil Ibragimov. He looks like a really good wrestler. His coach is a decent wrestler as well. Solid punching. He's got some not that technical, but he's quite like he's got some fast knockouts and stuff. So he's dead athletic and violent. But I don't think he'll be as technical as me anywhere. And I think I'm going to be very violent because I've not fought in 4 years, so it's going to be fun.
Awesome. I know Carl Prince is the matchmaker for them, and I work close with him on occasion. So I probably will be watching that if at some point, depending on what platform it's on, and maybe even try and get down to the closed doors anyway. So.
Carol's a good guy. You know, I've met him a few times in the past at shows. He's a good guy, so I'm excited to get back fighting.
Back on Grapplefest then, if you had to pick a way that you think you would beat Ellis, how do you think that you'll get that done?
So in that tournament, he beat me. Then he lost to Gregors by leg lock at that point. So, but honestly, I'm not counting on a submission. I'm counting on being more aggressive. I'm counting on trying to control the positions more and take opportunities more. I'm trying to, and if one sticks, brilliant. But I'm just going to be as aggressive as I can. If any of the submissions stick, but I'm just going to make sure that I'm putting a pace on him and attacking. To be honest. He's no weak anywhere. There's no areas that I've watched, most of his stuff. There's areas where he's really strong, but he's no weak anywhere. So it's just about trying to find areas that I feel that I can win the battles and trying to spend the majority of the time in those areas where I'm able to attack and get my own stuff going. If I even take the exchanges that we had in our last battle, I done okay with a leg attack, but it was close-ish, but he was able to get out fairly easily. But I just think it's fun because it's 3.5 years ago, and that was my very first no-gi sort of experience. Not my very first, but it was when I kind of went away from MMA and just my first one since I really went on a run in no-gi competition. And then he's went obviously and got much better since then as well. So it's just about trying to look for the areas that I think I can exploit.
Oh, definitely. Should be definitely an exciting match.
Definitely.
We're both definitely looking forward to this one. This is one that we've sort of highlighted for one to watch. But no, thank you for coming on, and it's been a pleasure to have you on. If people wanted to get in touch with you and follow your journey for your training, where can they reach you?
So Submission Factory MMA on Instagram, Craig McIntosh, or it's just Craig McIntosh now because Facebook wants you to provide ID for a nickname now. But so Craig McIntosh on Facebook or Instagram, Submission Factory MMA. That's the gym that I started. I've got some MMA fighters doing really well already, and competing in no-gi jiu-jitsu. They've started doing well already, so it's been good to see that as well. That's been part of my journey in the last couple of years, is doing some coaching and stuff as well. And it's great to see. Actually, I love seeing people do well. I love seeing my students do well and progressing.
Definitely. So we've got Craig McIntosh against Ellis Younger. 4th of July, Grapplefest 9 on Floor Grappling, only on Floor Grappling because there's no crowd. So make sure you get to watch that. Thanks for your time, Craig. I appreciate it. Good luck, and we'll speak to you afterwards.
Perfect. Cheers, guys. Take care. Thanks for having us. All the best.
Thank you.
Hi, guys, and we're now joined by Ash Williams and Kev Corkill, ahead of the Grapplefest 9 card. Hi, guys. Welcome to the podcast. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Nice one. Nice one for having me, mate.
So with lockdown going on and everything, training's been a little bit difficult. So how's your sort of schedule and sort of training methods changed over this sort of past 12, 14 weeks?
Who you're asking first?
Yeah, we'll start with Kev.
Obviously, during lockdown, it's been quite tricky to find training partners because it's illegal, super illegal. So just been going jogging, lifting a few weights, went on a tough run tonight. Just keeping it basic, just as much as you can do by yourself. That's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
Been going running.
What about yourself, Ash? We were speaking to Lou Long literally a minute ago. You're both in Wales. You guys are a few weeks behind us. Same with the Scottish guys on the card. How's it been with you? Because you watched England open up a little bit, and then Wales have done a little bit more, but it's not to the degree where you can train. What's it been like for you?
The frustrating that it is quite frustrating that England are opening up faster than Wales, and obviously technically even with the elite status stuff people are doing, technically we can't train even though Jim was granted elite status right now. Obviously I have been rolling. I'm so honest about it. There's no point in sugarcoating it. I've been rolling. I have to. It's my livelihood and my career. But at the start of lockdown, I didn't actually do anything for the first 4 or 6 weeks. I just did quite a bit of yoga and quite a bit of lifting. And I actually, it was nice to realize that potentially you don't have to train as much as you think you do to maintain a competitive, physicality and the intensity. When we went back training now 2 to 3 times a week, I felt really good, considering I thought I'd feel really rusty and feel not ready to compete. But I think lockdown has been really good, maybe to highlight to athletes potentially what you're putting your body through every day, training maybe 6 days a week, 2 to 3 times a day. The optimumness of that is potentially not as full as you think. You know, like you could potentially train a little bit less and see equal or if not more reward. So it's been quite a sobering couple of months, I'd say, to be honest. But I've really enjoyed it.
Oh, fair. Like, so with like, there's other ways that you can sort of study the sport, and with like match analysis, technique videos. Is there any sort of things that either of you have adopted like into sort of your routine at the moment, especially with the inability to really get regular training partners? We'll start with Ash if you want.
Yeah, one thing we've introduced quite a lot of is a couple of us, like maybe 4 or 5 of us, the higher grades in my gym, or the guys who really geek out in jiu-jitsu. We've been rewatching all of ADCC, World Nogi, World Gi, and trying to pick up on like familiar habits or familiar techniques that is quite successful at that level, you know, and looking at what really they are getting their best hit rate with. So like obviously a lot of people who are familiar with most techniques in jiu-jitsu, you know, I know there's a few there's a few discrepancies in terms of like the highest guys, you know, like peaking like this part of the game or peaking that part of the game. But we're kind of looking at like generically across the board, like what was the best takedown, the most successful leg lock, you know, in particular for ADCC, because that's really my goal. But yeah, we've been doing a lot more studying. And I don't study usually. I don't really watch that much jiu-jitsu in my spare time prior to lockdown, but it's given me a good chance to really have a look at the field and kind of what's relevant.
Oh, spot on. But yourself, Kev?
I don't watch jiu-jitsu. Why would I want to watch somebody else make art that I can make myself?
Fair play, mate. That's a pretty valid comment, that. So we're like...
If you're going to do something, you best be original about it. There's a million people who have got a copy cutter style. You may as well be original. You've got to do what suits your body and you feel like portrays your art well.
That makes sense. So like with that in mind then, have you got anywhere that you sort of get your inspiration from?
I just go on the mats and do what I do.
Fair enough.
How am I not surprised, Kev? You literally, I've followed you through your journey, mostly through doing my events and stuff, and the great matches I've seen you be a part of. It seems, especially in the last sort of 1 to 2 years with you, Kev, that you've stepped up levels. You've got your black belt now. You're competing. You're putting your head above the water to get the fights that you think you deserve, and I feel like everyone knows you deserve. What sort of changed in your mindset in the last year or two?
Just trying to. It's more so lately, especially I've had a lot of shit results, and it was my fault. I've been garbage, performed absolute garbage. But lately, been training a bit better, being a bit more focused on what I'm doing in the gym. Like for a while there, I was obsessed with like a certain aspect of the game, and I don't feel like that's what I want to do anymore. I feel like I want to be much more entertaining than that. Well, like a lot of my matches, this fuck all goes on for 10 minutes. That's not really what I'm going for.
I have been watching Kev.
Fucking shit. You've seen them. I'm sorry, the boys, the tears, bro.
No, I've been in a few fight of the night, so let's hopefully we can get fight of the night this time round. You know, like hopefully we can go for it. Yeah.
It's funny you say that because obviously I know it's been a few years now since that fight, like maybe 4 or 5 years, but like when you and Emil Melzewski competed at Grapple Nation, it's one of the highlights of the events that I've run. So I would not say that you are always in boring fights, because every time we speak about you probably all the time on this podcast, you're entertaining in our eyes, and you're a killer, you're relentless. So maybe you're just doing yourself a bit of disservice there.
If you're not trying to be the best, if you're not going to critique yourself, who can critique you?
Very, very true.
You know what I mean? If I'm not making the art that I want to make, I'm obviously going to be critical of myself, because it's me who's got to live with it. Yeah. It's my body of work that I'm creating. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Of course I do. With you, Ash, you've competed the who's who. You're quite consistent. What sort of obviously you refer to ADCC and the trials and stuff, and obviously we know that you're looking to arrange them. I think it's the second one you're looking to arrange until lockdown hit. What sort of your goals? Is it to push through the next crop to show that the Brits can take over that and we've got the talent, or have you still got your own goals as well?
No, like I gotta be honest, I just try to compete as frequently as possible and be entertaining, and then if I get offered a better match like this ahead of that one, I'll take it and just repeat the same process. When I always feel like, last maybe 10 matches I've had, I'd probably be considered quite a considerable underdog in virtually all of them. And I've been written off a few times in quite a few of them as well. And it's just drives me to just want to compete and represent, similar to what Kev was saying in terms of just represent my own jiu-jitsu. I work with a really close team of coaches and competitors and athletes in my gym. And I just say to them all the time, when I compete, it's a representation of you guys, on that stage, because even though it's a solo sport, you can't craft the art by yourself. You need training partners with you to facilitate that. So I just like to say that, I represent my gym's jiu-jitsu and then the guys around me. And then by an extension, maybe the Welsh and the UK jiu-jitsu, but there's a lot of guys doing a lot better in that respect now. So it's really cool to see. But we're still failing. We're still falling fairly short of the mark in terms of male competitors at a ADCC or World Championship black belt level, so there's still time for people to break through, and I hope to be one of them. So,
cool. No, definitely. With for me, Grapplefest is sort of up there with Polaris as like one of the top shows in Europe at the moment. I don't see any other card bringing the same sort of level of athlete and the same level of competitor. So start with Kev. What does it mean to sort of you're a Grapplefest vet, but what does it mean to be sort of like a regular on the show?
Sick. It's not like competing in your hometown, is there?
No.
We've been competing forever now. We've obviously all competed in Maggosh. We've competed in sports halls. We've competed in some decent venues. That guy's competed in theatres and halls and shit. He's doing bits. I appreciate it that you can get on the mats with some of the best people in the world, and they all come to. I live in Liverpool, obviously, so they're all around the corner. And I've trained with some unbelievable killers.
Mm.
Like when Craig Jones was down, he absolutely spanked me. I've never took a beating like it. That's one of the best things about Grapplefest for me. You get to see talent up close.
Yeah.
Gives you something to strive for. Do you know what I mean?
No, definitely. What about yourself, Ash? You've been a regular on the big shows. Like Jake said, what does it mean to sort of still get them phone calls and still get that step up in competition?
So actually, that's what when I first stepped up for EBI and then Polaris, Kasai, and Grapplefest, every time I go to a new show, I'm relatively nervous because obviously your performance in front of that particular promoter kind of sells you as the product you are, and obviously it would be really cool. For example, with Polaris, I managed to compete in Newport is the closest I've competed to home in a really long time. So that was really nice for me because that essentially is competing on my doorstep. But even Grapplefest isn't on my doorstep. It's probably going to take me 5-hour drive. And given these conditions, I'm driving 5 hours, then competing against Kev almost immediately, and then just driving 5 hours straight home. So it's not ideal. But again, what you're saying about about these shows. At the end of the day, there's only a few of these shows available in the UK throughout a year, and I really don't want to turn them down because it's the only platform that's available to us as athletes to express ourselves and express what we can do. So I'm really grateful for them. But at the same time, I always say the same. You can't always be grateful just to be called up, because at some point you've got to understand you deserve to be there. And then when you deserve to be there, that's when I started to become more comfortable with competing at that level. Because I said every time I competed for the first time, I was like, man, hopefully they like what I do. Maybe they don't like me as a person. Maybe they never get me back. But once you start getting on there frequently, it allows you to perform a lot better, because the nerves of, will I ever get back on this show, or will I ever be able to compete at this level, they start to diminish. They start to leave you when you get to be able to go out there. And it's not really it's not like a win-lose situation anymore. It's just a win-win. Just go out there and do your thing, and you'll get another opportunity, which is where I feel like I'm at right now, which is where I wanted to be for a very long time.
So, like you said, that it's a 5-hour drive or 10-hour round trip for you, and then Kev said it's his back door. He'll roll out of bed, go to next door, and he's there, and he can go home, and it's easier for him. Kev's competed in his own backyard. You've probably done it yourself. But then again, on the flip side as well, you competed all around the world against probably crowds that have been completely against you. On this occasion, there is no crowd, so you're not going to be the hometown favourite, Kev. Ash, you're not going to be against the hometown favourite as in a crowd essence. How, has that taken into effect in your mindset? Have you thought about it much? We'll start with Kev.
Nobody even likes me in Liverpool, so don't worry about it. I like competing with no crowds. It's like in the gym. The closest, the easiest way to replicate what you do in the gym is be in the same environment, and we're going to be in a gym with no crowd.
Yeah.
That's my opinion on it.
I couldn't agree more. I'm actually excited about the idea of competing without a crowd. Like when you get to the venue and everything's like quite heated and everything's going, like it can sway you one way or the other. You know, it can rile you on, or it can kind of diminish you. You know, like for example, in my Eastern Kranstein, the crowd is for the last 5 minutes they kind of got me through. You know, because they had a lot of cheering going for me. But then when I fought Frank Rosenthal and he sold probably 100 tickets or something, and everyone wanted me to lose, I was like, ah man, like I'm not doing this situation. If I go out there and look like an idiot, I'm just getting ridiculed by the crowd for the whole time as well, which is going to be terrible, you know. So I'm actually excited about this idea, you know, Sinitron thing. I like the shoot marks right now. Fantastic. Everyone's out your way, nice and chill. I mean, like if the world actually stayed like this after lockdown with regards to certain things, like just keeping 2 meters away from each other, cool.
I don't know what it's like in Wales, but we've not been like that for about 3 months. Everyone just, no one gives a shit in this country anymore. Literally, it's crazy. It's like COVID doesn't even exist anymore in this country. In some people,
I spoke to loads of different people from different places, and people are like, "My village is no one is doing anything outside. We're not even going past out 5 miles." And I'm like, "What? Like that's insane." But then I speak to some people in like some cities, and it's like, "No one cares. Everyone's doing what they want." And I'm like, man, like you know. But things aren't like super strict here. They're just fairly comfortable, you know.
Ah, fair. So, like, when the phone call finally came as well from Tomo, like announcing the cards, announcing your opponent, we'll start with Kev. Like, what were your initial thoughts when you got given Ashley's name?
You best get ready. Been living the good life for 2 months here, doing training twice a week, just barely doing anything, just barely even keeping in jiu-jitsu. So, there's nothing like getting the cup. That's the best part about, well, competing is a stiff part, but there's nothing like getting a firm date and a name to an event. It really gives you something to aim for. When you're doing jiu-jitsu, I describe it, when I haven't got like a match or anything coming up, I'll just try and like study like my game and try and refine what I do best. Whereas when you get a name and a date, you've got to work towards like a goal then. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely.
Obviously, I was meant to have it with Ash a few times. I was sick, he was sick. Just didn't ever come together. Also, we were meant to have it on another card that COVID killed off.
Yeah.
But it's going to be good to finally get it done. You know what I mean?
The jiu-jitsu side of Khabib and Tony Ferguson, it's just will happen.
I'm obviously Tony, lads. Come on. Like I smoke a bit of meth.
What about you, Ash?
Yeah, I just love the idea of competing all the time. You know, like I've got to be a little bit more sensible with taking just any match because obviously I feel like I'm in the position where potentially an ADCC invite could happen. It might not, it could do, but obviously I'm trying to build towards something, so I don't want to take a match that potentially could make my career go back a few steps, you know, like I think that's something I've got to consider. But in terms of UK, you know, like I fought almost everyone at the weight apart from Kev, so it'd be nice to get it done, you know. And like same as like all the other guys, I'm happy to take matches. Like I like to stay active, you know, and I don't get that opportunity unless I'm flying to the States. Oh, there's a Polaris every month and a Grapple Fest every month and a Pantheon every month. Then I'm not going to be able to be active, you know. I like to look at the name of lists I've got of people, and it's really cool. It's quite surreal. But then I look at how active I was in the year, and it's not really good enough, you know. It's not really enough. I want to be competing more. So to compete against guys like Kev and other guys in the UK, it just gives me the opportunity to get more match time under my belt and practice my game at a competitive level. You know, that's exactly what I want. I just want to be out there and just honing my skills. I used to always think like win, lose, draw, just go out, entertain, and just put my game into play, you know, and then I'll just go back to the gym and improve from there. I know I've spoken to loads of guys about Kev, obviously because we've had a few like match dates confirmed. And everyone's very complimentary of his jiu-jitsu. Everyone says he's very flexible. His guard's really good. And everyone's like, oh, I'm super excited to see how you're going to try and navigate his guard. Well, that's what I am as well. I'm super excited about it. Why wouldn't I be? You know, if someone's got a wicked guard, well, let's do that. You know, you might from this now you might be like, I'm gonna wrestle. Who knows? You know, like, like you know, like
Not saying nothing over here.
Tactics are out.
like, you know, I enjoy all parts of jiu-jitsu, you know, so like I just want to test my game against other parts, but it's always exciting when someone messes me going like, I thought Kev, his guard was ridiculous. Like, I'm excited to see how you fare with it, you know. And if it goes well, brilliant. If it doesn't, well, I can just go back, watch the match back, and I'll learn.
I imagine it's tough to be like king of the hill. When you're the peak, you can't be going around doing wild things like taking stupid matches. Do you know what I mean?
I appreciate what you're saying. Like, I wouldn't put myself there in that respect, but I do appreciate that. Like, I want to fight almost everyone and anyone, you know, and obviously I'm aiming for like ranked guys in the top 10 would be like the ideal matches for me. But what I talk a lot with my team as well is, you know, those guys in the ranked top 10 in Flow, they are competing against guys in their states and stuff every weekend anyway. They're just getting matches all the time, you know. So obviously, like, a lot of people might say to Kev, like, oh, it's a win-win. But that totally depends on how the match goes. Like, obviously, like, I understand saying, oh, just go out there and see what you can do. But if Kev, like, wants to take himself as a serious, you know, is taking himself as a serious competitor, then he don't want to just go like, oh yeah, just sling anyone at me, I'll just compete.
Exactly.
Like, you know, like I understand it from both points of view because I've been in both positions where I'm an underdog and I'm expected to win. Being expected to win is worse. I'd rather trade with Kev.
Like you say before, you've been the underdog on a lot of occasions where I feel like the feeling what you mentioned then is that you probably are the favourite and you would rather still be the underdog because it's what you're used to.
By far. Man, the hunger of being an underdog is way more fun.
What about you, Kev? Obviously, do you see that mindset of you want to prove people wrong in this fight?
You always want to prove people wrong. I describe it like when you're first coming through, like when you're like a tree, you've got like a million different sparring partners and a million different people who can test you. But as you go up the ranks and start getting better at jiu-jitsu, you outgrow all them people. So when you see something else like the same height as you, the same rank as you, or a bit higher, you obviously want to challenge yourself against them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
It's tough. It's real tough. The better you get at jiu-jitsu, the smaller your circle can become for people that are going to push you to achieve something great.
Obviously, in the UK as well, we are limited in terms of guys who are competitive at this level in submission grappling at the weight.
You find a lot of people, especially at the events that I put on at Empire, that you do get the sporadic sort of maybe brown and black belts, the higher ups that do sort of enter them events to keep active, but a lot of them try to keep on these Pantheons, Grapple Fest, Polaris to get the right matchups to them because, like you said before, Ash, it's dangerous to put your name out there against people at a lower rank than you. And then anything can happen, especially in the tournament format when it could be 5 minutes rather than 10 and you're dealing with IBJF points and most of them rather than a sub only. Yeah. Do you feel like that's a true thing for you too, Ash?
I think the shows are brilliant. But I do think a lot of UK athletes could definitely understand that competing frequently on all these other tournaments where you've got to pay any rule set, you know, like sub only, time limitless, points. To me, it's just, you know, just good jiu-jitsu is good jiu-jitsu. So if you go out there in any format and you perform well, at the end of the day, submission is still winning any single format you can think of.
True.
Like, and you can generally you get better submissions if you get more dominant positions. So really, every match, good domination of positions is going to win you the match as well. So I always think that, like, although I love the pro shows and everything that's going on, for myself, it's brilliant because I get to fight high-level competitors frequently. I do think a lot of guys in the card are like, no, like I'm a pro show guy now, you know, like I'm just gonna wait till Grapfest comes around. It's like, man, just go do Hereford, just go do Bristol, just get matches because you can't get his time back. You know, that's exactly why, like, if you know, if Tom will message me and say like, oh, do you want this match? Is it a jiu-jitsu match? Yes. Is it my weight? Yes. Let's get going. Do you mean? Because you can't like write off experience. And I definitely think UK guys like, for example, Owen and Ross and guys like that, they're brilliant at it. You know, they compete a serious amount and they rack up a lot of matches and tournaments, which I think is fantastic. You know, if there was more guys at 65, 70 kilos, I would be getting more matches and tournaments as well. But the truth is, I check the British Open every single year, and there's no one registered. You know, so what am I supposed to do?
True. What about you, Kev? Do you still enjoy doing the tournaments when you get to compete, or do you?
I'm not sure if I'm going to make this public, obviously, but I don't weigh 70k. I've never weighed 70k. So with my weight, I used to compete at light feather.
Oh, I'm aware of that. I'm aware of this, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I
knew
never
you
used to
liked
get
it, yeah.
people in that bracket. So they're going to bump me up to 70 and make me fight people 9-10k heavier than me. I'm not having that. I'm only scrawny, you mad?
How much do you walk around at, Kev?
62.
Oh, fair play to you, but that's good going.
I'll say I've enrolled with you,
What
mate.
am I going to do? Try and make people go down to 60?
No,
I'm out.
All my guys, man, who walk on at like 60, 64, and I'm like, look, you may as well try and just bulk and get bigger and heavier, because the truth is in the UK, you're going to get one match a year, maybe at your weight, you know, like you're going to be bumped to 70 all the time. So you may as well just go up.
Yeah, I completely agree that when I was competing constantly, this is 10 years ago, and I was probably 59 kilos, piss wet through, and it was ground control.
What are you now?
I'm probably about 85.
It's casually put that in.
Most of it's the beard anyway. That's what I joke. But yeah, I begged Jason Tan at ground control back in the day to give us a 62 kilogram division, because I was struggling with this sort of 9-10 kilo difference, and I was only a beginner novice back then. And then by the time the division came in, it was intermediate, and my first competition at 62 at intermediate was against like 2 pro MMA fighters, a wonder kid from Next Gen, and I was just like, yeah, I'd rather a novice with a 68s.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do feel for you, Kev. I've experienced that a long time ago.
If I wanted to do it, I could gain 10k. I don't know how I'm going to gain 10k, like, but
I'll tell you.
Supplement market's dry at the minute of it.
I gained 10 kilos in the first 2 weeks of lockdown.
It's all shoulders by the looks of it, though.
I had to start dieting again. When I got the match, I was like, oh, step on the scale. I'm like, I got to diet again.
But it's certainly a match that I think everyone's looking forward to. Like, 2 great players, and I know I'm certainly looking forward to this. Like, having watched you, Ash, and having rolled with Kev, stylistically, I think it's going to be a great one to watch, and definitely one to watch out for. But for anyone who wants to sort of follow your training journeys and sort of look a bit more into yours, start with yourself, Ash. Where can people find you on social media?
Just my Instagram, Ashley Williams. I think it's A Williams BJ. And obviously, just chuck me a friend request on Facebook. Like I gotta be honest, if you've got jiu-jitsu in your profile picture, I'll accept you. Man, I enjoy being connected with other people, you know, see what other people are doing. So I don't update the most, but for competitions, I start to update more and more frequently as I get closer to the events, you know.
Oh, spot on. About yourself, Kev?
Kev Jitsu with 2 O's. That's what my Instagram handle. That's the main place I post. If you ever want to come down the gym, teach a Precision Combat Academy nowadays, which is in Lidlands by ours. If anybody wants to come down and train, you can come down and train.
Awesome. So that's Ashley Williams versus Kevin Corkill, one of the feature bouts of the evening. It's a great bout that's been put together by the team at Grapple Fest. That's Grapple Fest 9, 4th of July, live on Flow Grappling. I'm sure everyone will be watching. Like you say, guys, you won't fight the night. Give us fight the night, and best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Nice one. Stay safe.
See you after my 5-hour drive, Kev.
Fucking hell, lad. Fuck that. An hour drive for a 10-minute match.
Yeah, it is.
Wild.
It's unbelievable, yeah.
See you later, guys.
Cheers,
Stay
guys.
safe.
Thanks for watching today's episode, guys. Like I said, we've had some really great interviews and we've got some really exciting matches coming up. Like, we've got episode 2 coming out next week. But yeah, Jake, like, what an episode.
Yeah, great episode. So literally there'll be 4 or 5 days in between episode 1 and episode 2. The guys are great. The guys have worked with us brilliantly to make sure we can get them both together if that was at all possible. Looking forward to it. Like we said, all episode 2. Flow Grappling, 4th of July, Grapple Fest 9. Make sure you get it. And a special thanks to our podcast sponsors, Progress, Barefoot. Who else have we got, Simon?
MBR, ID Pure, Mad Skills.
Yeah. We're lucky and unfortunate to have the guys supporting us. So yeah, thanks for enjoying the first episode. Well, we hope you enjoyed it as much as we did filming it. Episode 2, and the guest that we've got for the future is crazy. So please subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on all the platforms like Spotify and Facebook and all the podcasts and stuff like that. Get on it. Thank you for your time, and we'll see you soon.
I really appreciate the support. And again, make sure you subscribe to Flow Grappling and tune in for Grapple Fest 9.
Definitely.
Supporters and shows, we need the support right now. So let's make sure these shows continue. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.